Chapter 1. 3 Years Without Regrets Outside the Heavens Continent. Blackrock City. Yi Fei sat cross-legged on a large bluestone in the middle of a waterfall. The corner of his mouth revealed a bitter and helpless smile. My talent in the past was so shocking. Who would have thought that today I would fall to such a state? 3 years ago, he was absolutely a stunning talent. He started martial arts at the age of 10 and reached Fighter 1 layer in a week, breaking the record in the history of Blackrock City. At the age of 13, Yi Fei reached Fighter 5 layer and opened up a 6th grade Huang-ranked Dantian, shocking the entire family Yi and Blackrock City. The quality of one's Dantian determined one's future potential. In the history of Blackrock City, the highest talent was only 5th grade Huang rank. Yi Fei actually opened up a 6th grade Huang-ranked Dantian. When the news spread, Yi Fei instantly became the leader of the younger generation in Blackrock City. The news even alarmed a powerful sect nearby, the Heavenly Profound sect. An elder from the sect even personally invited Yi Fei to become a disciple of the Heavenly Profound sect. The scene at that time was still vivid in his mind. The entire Blackrock City was shocked, and the entire family Yi was proud of him. The mayor of Blackrock City didn't care about his reputation and personally came to the family Yi to visit Yi Fei. The matchmakers sent by the 3 great clans to try to form a marriage alliance almost trampled on the doorstep of the family Yi. Unfortunately, that was 3 years ago. Yi Fei's eyes also flashed with a trace of sadness. He still remembered that 3 years ago, he was accompanied by his father and uncle to report to the Heavenly Profound sect. On the way, they were unfortunately attacked by a terrifying demonic beast. Originally, with the combined strength of his father and uncle, as well as the help of the 2 genius juniors, Yi Fei and Yi Wei, even if they couldn't defeat the beast, they could still escape unscathed. But at the crucial moment, his father and uncle were actually afraid and fled, putting him and his father in danger. In order to save him, his father was seriously injured and died. When Yi Fei woke up from his coma, he found that his Dantian was destroyed and he was crippled. As for whether his Dantian was destroyed by a demonic beast or for some other reason, only the heavens knew. On the other hand, eldest uncle and his son took advantage of this opportunity. Yi Wei took away the entry token that should have belonged to him and successfully joined the Heavenly Profound sect. After Big Uncle returned to the family, he took over the position of patriarch. On the other hand, he had been completely reduced to a cripple. Not only had he not received any care from his eldest uncle and his son, he had also been humiliated and bullied by his clansmen. If it were any other youth who had suffered such a blow, they would have long given up on themselves or committed suicide out of depression. But Yi Fei did not. His gaze was as firm as ever. His determination to pursue martial arts had also become even more fervent after he had gotten used to the fickleness of the world. Power. In the face of absolute power, kinship and friendship are nothing. Yi Fei roared inwardly as he dragged his exhausted body back to his clan. He was actually not from this world. It was an accident that brought him to this world. Therefore, Yi Fei had a stronger will than his peers. He had a rock-solid belief that would never be shaken. So what if his Dantian was destroyed? So what if he was reduced to a cripple? A tree needed a layer of bark to live, and a man needed a breath to live. In his previous life, he was petty and insignificant. In this life, he had to live a colorful life. Even if he only had 1 breath left, he would not be able to stop his determination to pursue martial arts. Ha, look at that cripple. He came back so late again. He must have gone to the waterfall to torture himself again. He still thinks that he is the genius from 3 years ago. His Dantian is destroyed. Who is he putting on an act for? Don't say that. He used to be the young master of our family Yi. He was a genius, but he was reduced to a cripple and a lunatic. He is actually quite pitiful. Bah, bullshit genius. A cripple like him should have been killed by demonic beasts 3 years ago. Even the dogs that my family Yi feeds are more useful than him. When the surrounding clansmen saw Yi Fei return, they were not polite at all. They pointed at him in front of his face. Some were sympathetic, some were sarcastic, and even more were sarcastic. Yi Fei turned a deaf ear to all of this. There was no anger on his face. He was enduring. More accurately, he was waiting. He was waiting for a chance to rise again. No one, not even Yi Fei, who had come to this world, knew that there was a small black sword hidden in his body. It was also this small black sword that had brought Yi Fei to this world. In the beginning, Yi Fei had been cultivating diligently and had not sensed the secret in his body. It was only at that moment, when his dantian was destroyed and all his hopes turned to dust, that the intense pain in his body triggered the small black sword in his body. It was only then that Yi Fei saw a glimmer of hope in the endless darkness. It was also from that moment on that Yi Fei understood that he had not been able to sense the small black sword in the past because his mind was too weak. It was only when the intense pain of his dantian being destroyed stimulated his nerves that he was barely able to establish a weak connection with the small black sword in his body. From that day on, he crazily sat under the waterfall for 3 years. It was all for the sake of enduring the impact of the huge water flow to stimulate his mind. He hoped that he would be able to unravel the secret of the small black sword. Now that 3 years had passed, his mind was as firm as a rock. Today, he had successfully established an unbreakable mental connection with the small black sword. As long as he was given a few more days, or perhaps a month, Yi Fei believed that he would definitely be able to successfully trigger the small black sword. When that time came, he might have a chance to rise again. Therefore, for now, he had to endure. As long as he could endure until the moment his strength was restored, what did other people's rumors matter? What did 3 years of being a good-for-nothing mean? 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Family Yi, just you wait. I will definitely take back everything that belongs to me and my father with my own hands. Oh right, there's still Yi Shanshan. When he thought of Yi Shanshan, a gentle smile appeared on Yi Fei's cold face. Strictly speaking, Yi Shanshan was not a member of the family Yi. She was an abandoned baby that Yi Fei's father had picked up from the outside when he was 3 years old. However, Yi Fei's father did not despise this girl with a pitiful background. Instead, he treated her like his adopted son and raised her as his own. During the 3 years that Yi Fei's dantian was destroyed and he was reduced to a cripple, he was bullied and humiliated by his clansmen. Only Yi Shanshan had taken good care of him from beginning to end. It could be said that if it weren't for the family Yi and Yi Shanshan, Yi Fei would have left Blackrock City on his own a long time ago. Every day, I come back so late from cultivating. Plus, I'm covered in injuries. If Shanshan sees me, she'll be sad again. Yi Fei imagined a little lowly blinking her big, pitiful eyes at him. He really wanted to laugh. Chapter 2. Sword Spirit is indestructible, hee. Little sister Shanshan, I haven't seen you in a few days and you've grown even more beautiful. Come over here and let me see if your little bunny has grown up. If it hasn't, I can rub it for you for free. Hee. Yee-hoo, you pervert, get out of here. This is where Brother Fei and I live. If you dare bully me, I'll get Brother Fei to beat you to death. That was the sound of a little girl struggling. But how could a little lowly be a match for a warrior like Yi-hoo? Yi Shanshan's threat did not scare Yi-hoo away. Instead, Yi-hoo laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha, interesting. Yi Shanshan, do you still think that trash is the same as the genius of my family Yi from 3 years ago? Let me tell you, he is now a complete piece of trash. Trash. What happiness do you have by following trash like this? Why don't you follow me and live a good life? Yi-hoo, scram or I'll scream. Yi Shanshan desperately wanted to protect herself. Her actions completely aroused Yi-hoo's bestial desires. Hee, little sister Shanshan, go ahead and scream. The louder you scream, the better I feel. Damn it, I can't take it anymore. Little lowly, how could you grow so big? If you don't want to be beaten, take off your shirt obediently and let me touch you. I'll see how well you've developed." As he spoke, the sound of fabric being torn could be heard in the air. Yi Fei walked to the door and happened to see Yi Hu fiercely tearing at his little sister's clothes. His filthy hands were even about to touch her body. Bastard! Yi Fei's head instantly exploded. He could tolerate anything, but this was something he absolutely could not tolerate. His 3 years of patience exploded at this moment. His shocking anger stirred up the little black sword that had been dormant in his body for a long time. Then, without Yi Fei noticing, a mysterious power was rapidly emitted from the little black sword and flowed into his dantian. Pa pa pa! There was the sound of beans being fried. Yi Fei suddenly realized that his weak body was suddenly filled with boundless strength. In the blink of an eye, this terrifying energy had already repaired his dantian, even though it was only the lowest grade Huang-ranked dantian. But it still made Yi Fei so happy that he wanted to roar. 3 years, he had suffered for 3 whole years. The moment he had waited for his strength to recover had finally arrived. At this moment, the small black sword hidden in his body had already transformed into a terrifying energy whirlpool. Before Yi Fei could react, his consciousness had already been sucked into the whirlpool. Among them, he saw a gigantic black sword in the boundless starry skies of the universe. It devoured and destroyed everything. The gigantic sword light slashed down, and wherever it passed, the galaxies were destroyed. Billions of stars were turned into dust. This was simply a horrifying demonic sword that could destroy the world. At the same time, there were countless gods, demons, and liches. They were roaring and roaring as they fought with all their might. They were like rolling blood clouds that charged towards the gigantic black sword. Every one of them had a crazed look in their eyes as they stretched out their hand. They wanted to snatch the gigantic black sword as soon as possible. However, at this moment, the gigantic black sword released an even more terrifying sword light. Tens of thousands of gods and demons disappeared in the blink of an eye. Along with them, the gigantic black sword also disappeared, leaving behind countless gods and demons roaring in anger and fear. How could the undying sword soul disappear? Chase. Even if we have to turn the world upside down, we have to find the whereabouts of the undying sword's soul. Boom! The roars of tens of thousands of gods and demons were scarier than thunder. When Yi Fei heard it, he felt as if he was there, as if his head was about to explode. Another panicked cry instantly pulled Yi Fei back to reality. It was Yi Shanshan's voice. Just a few seconds after Yi Fei's attention was attracted by the black dagger. Yi Shanshan still couldn't stop Yi Hu's dirty claws. Her blouse had already been torn open, and she was so embarrassed and angry that her eyes were brimming with tears. This further stimulated Yi Hu's bestial desires. He didn't notice Yi Fei, who had already rushed in. His eyes were still greedily staring at Yi Shanshan's underwear. He laughed sinisterly and said, "Ha ha, scream all you want. Big brother is going to dote on you right now. Bastard. Stop it right now." Yi Fei's head wasn't just about to explode. Even his body was about to explode from his anger. He could tolerate the humiliation of the family Yes people, but he definitely couldn't tolerate the humiliation of his sister. Bam! Furious, Yi Fei quickly rushed forward and kicked the unprepared Yi Hu away. Then, he hurriedly went to Yi Shanshan's side to protect her. "Shanshan, are you okay? Did that bastard bully you?" Yi Fei's eyes were red. "Big brother Fei, I'm fine. I'm just very scared." Sob sob sob. Seeing Yi Fei appear and defeat Yi Hu, Yi Shanshan subconsciously threw herself into Yi Fei's arms. What happened just now had really frightened the little girl. Yi Fei heaved a sigh of relief. He thought to himself, "Thank God I rushed back in time." Then, he looked at his sister's torn blouse. Yi Fei's heart ached and he was furious. "Yi Hu, you bastard! If there's anything, just come at me. How dare you bully my sister? I'll kill you right now. Yi Fei didn't hide his shocking murderous intent as he walked towards Yi Hu. Motherf asterisk cur, so it was you who sneaked an attack on me. Trash, do you want to die? How dare you ruin my plans? A trash like you wants to kill me? Do you think you're still the genius of the family Yi from 3 years ago? You're just a piece of trash now. At this time, Yi Hu got up from the ground shakily. His breath reeked of alcohol. He didn't take Yi Fei seriously at all. After all, it wasn't 3 years ago. The news of Yi Fei becoming a cripple was known by the entire Blackrock City. Yi Hu was at least in the first stage of the martial path. He had nothing to fear. It was obvious that he wanted to humiliate Yi Fei and his sister. You don't know what's good for you. Yi Hu, remember this. Whether it's 3 years ago or now, if I want to kill you, no one can stop me. Yi Fei was furious. When he saw Yi Hu get up, he rushed towards him again. Yi Fei, you've already become a piece of trash, and you still don't know how to restrain yourself. I'll teach you now how to be a piece of trash. Yi Hu's lips curled into a cold smile. He pushed his first stage of the martial path's chi to the limit and aimed a vicious punch at Yi Fei's heart. How was this a fight? He wanted to take Yi Fei's life. Although Yi Shanshan couldn't cultivate, she could see that something was wrong. She panicked and reminded Yi Fei, Brother Fei, run. Don't worry about me. In her mind, Yi Fei's dantian was already destroyed. How could he be a match for Yi Hu? Yi Shanshan didn't want Yi Fei to get hurt. Yi Fei obviously wouldn't retreat. Whoever dared to bully his sister, he would fight them to the death. He took a deep breath. Yi Fei didn't hold back at all as he threw his most violent punch at Yi Hu. If it were a day ago, not only would his punch not have been able to injure Yi Hu, he might have even been killed by Yi Hu instead. Chapter 3. Killing in Rage Kill. Yi Fei roared as their fists collided. Yi Hu immediately let out a blood-curdling scream. Yi Fei's punch had actually turned Yi Hu's entire arm into a fried dough twist. Even his bones were exposed. Yi Fei definitely didn't expect this outcome. The black dagger had only restored his strength to the first stage of the martial path, yet it was already so powerful. The undying sword spirit was indeed domineering. This time, he would definitely rise again. First stage of the martial path? How is this possible? Yi Fei, wasn't your dantian destroyed and you were reduced to a cripple? Could it be that your dantian has already recovered? Yi Hu looked at his hand that had been turned into a fried dough twist. His pained face was filled with shock. With a cold smile, Yi Fei looked down from above and said coldly, That's right. My dantian has already recovered. Are these your last words? Then you can die now. What? Brother Fei's dantian has recovered? Yi Shanshan, who was standing behind him, heard this and her tears flowed down again. However, this time they were tears of joy. When Yi Hu heard this, he was so frightened that he almost wet his pants. This wasn't Yi Hu's fault. It was because Yi Fei's talent 3 years ago was too shocking. It was enough to suppress the entire younger generation of Blackrock City. A mediocre branch family descendant like Yi, who didn't even have the qualifications to look up to Yi Fei. Now that he heard that Yi Fei's dantian had recovered, how could Yi Hu not be afraid? How could he not be afraid? Before Yi Fei could make a move, Yi Hu had already knelt in front of Yi Fei and slapped himself with all his strength. Brother Yi, I was wrong. I was muddle-headed and offended your sister. I beg you, on account that we are from the same clan, please let me go. Yi Hu raised his head and looked at Yi Fei in horror. Yi Fei's face was cold as he lightly shook his head and said, To think that you know that we are from the same clan. Since that's the case, when you tried to violate my sister, did you ever think that we are from the same clan? When you attacked me just now, did you ever think that we are from the same clan? What the F***? Bastard, how dare you bully my sister? If I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human. Yi Fei interrupted Yi Hu angrily and kicked Yi Hu in the neck. Crack! Yi Hu's neck was broken on the spot. His eyes were wide open as he stared at Yi Fei. There was fear and regret in his eyes. Even in death, he couldn't believe that Yi Fei had killed him. Yi Shanshan, who was behind him, covered his mouth tightly and almost cried out, "Brother Fei, you really killed Yi Hu? This bastard deserves to be killed. If anyone dares to bully you, not to mention Yi Hu, even if it's the God of Heaven, I'll kill them all the same." Yi Fei turned around furiously. It was a terrifying expression. Instead of scaring Yi Shanshan, he was filled with a sense of security and warmth. "Brother Fei, why are you so nice to me?" Yi Shanshan asked with reddened eyes. "What nonsense are you spouting? You're my sister. If I'm not nice to you, who should I be nice to?" Yi Fei purposely kept a straight face and wiped away the tears on her face. "Brother!" The little girl finally couldn't take it anymore and called out affectionately. There was a blissful smile on her face as she threw herself into Yi Fei's arms like a little white dove. The two of them hugged each other tightly and the scene was very heartwarming. Yi Fei's expression gradually became a little awkward. In the past 3 years, he had spent all his time studying the black dagger in his body. However, he didn't realize that Yi Shanshan had gradually grown up. Not only had her looks gradually become more alluring, but her figure had also become more voluptuous. Especially now that Yi Shanshan's outer garment was still in tatters, Yi Fei coughed awkwardly. Yi Shanshan also came to her senses in an instant. She let go of Yi Fei quickly and stuck her tongue out at Yi Fei with a red face. "Brother Fei, I'll go in first to change my outer garment." "Ahem, that's fine too." Yi Fei nodded. It just so happened that Yi Hu's body also needed to be dealt with. After all, he was no longer the prodigy young master he was 3 years ago. If he was discovered to have killed a member of the same clan, it would definitely be troublesome. It was best to deal with it and hide it for as long as possible. Before long, Yi Shanshan changed into a new green dress and walked out with light steps like a forest elf. However, her brows were slightly furrowed, and she looked at Yi Fei with a hint of worry in her eyes. "Brother Fei, ever since Godfather died, this family Yi is no longer our home. Now that you've killed Yi Hu, this matter can be big or small. Why don't we just leave Blackrock City?" Yi Shanshan grabbed Yi Fei's arm and said hopefully. "Leave?" Yi Fei was a little tempted by his sister's suggestion, but then he thought about how the family Yi had bullied him for the past 3 years. He also thought about how his eldest uncle, Yi Tianxiong, had fled at the last minute and deliberately caused his father's death, causing him to become a cripple. He had to take revenge for such a huge grudge. "Shanshan, we can't leave. With our current strength, we won't be able to protect ourselves if we leave the family Yi. It's safer to stay in the family Yi. Now that I have hope of rising again, it's time to settle the score from 3 years ago." Yi Fei's eyes flashed with murderous intent. After 3 years of humiliation, he no longer had a good impression of the family Yi. He definitely wouldn't let Yi Tianxiong and his father off. Yi Shanshan understood Yi Fei's feelings and didn't continue to persuade him. Instead, she sighed and suggested, "Brother Fei, we can stay, but we have to tell Uncle Jian about Yi Hu's death as soon as possible. He's the only one in the entire family who can make decisions for us." Yi Fei nodded. The Uncle Jian his sister mentioned was Yi Jian. He was an elder in the family Yi and had watched the siblings grow up. When they were young, he had followed their father through many life and death situations. In the 3 years that he had been a cripple, it was Yi Jian who did his best to protect the siblings. That was why their eldest uncle Yi Tianxiong hadn't been able to kick them out of the family Yi. Yes, Uncle Jian is father's sworn brother. If Uncle Jian helps, even if he can't stop the family from punishing me, he'll definitely buy me a lot of time. I can take advantage of this time to cultivate hard and recover my strength." Yi Fei nodded. He felt that Yi Shanshan's words made sense. He decided to look for Yi Jian now and ask for protection. But before they could really leave, The closed door was kicked open again. Then, 2 black-clothed family guards stepped in with a cold expression. Yi Fei recognized the 2 men at a glance. They were his eldest uncle Yi Tianxiong's trusted bodyguards. In the family Yi. An angry voice suddenly came from the family Ye's meeting room. What? You want to kick Yi Fei out of the family Yi? Yi Fei's dantian has been destroyed and you still won't let this child go? Chapter 4. The family's attitude. Hearing Yi Jian's objection, many of the elders' faces darkened. A small number of them lowered their heads and remained silent. The leader, Yi Tianxiong, raised his eyebrows and looked at great elder Yi Tianai beside him. Speaking of which, Yi Fei's father had once saved this great elder's life. This great elder even swore that he would be loyal to his father for life. But after his father's death, Yi Tianai immediately sought refuge with Yi Tianxiong and became his loyal lackey. Seeing Yi Jian's objection, Yi Tianxiong didn't need to say anything. Yi Tianai jumped out like a mad dog and bit at Yi Jian. Yi Jian, how dare you? We expelled that piece of trash for the sake of the family. Don't tell me you dare to go against the family head's orders. Yi Jian, you said it yourself. Yi Fei's dantian is destroyed. He's a complete piece of trash. Our family Yi raised him for 3 years because of the family head's benevolence. If it were any other family, they would have kicked this piece of trash out a long time ago. Another elder stood out and said. Yi Jian was furious when he heard this. He wanted to beat this group of people to death one by one. You bunch of people, your conscience has been eaten by dogs. Which one of you hasn't received the family head's kindness? How long has it been since the family head died, and you treat his son like this? Don't you feel ashamed? Yi Jian's words made some of the elders lower their heads in shame. Sitting in the main seat, Yi Tianxiong's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light. He said coldly, Elder Yi Jian, what do you mean by this? If you have any dissatisfaction with me as the family head, you can say it directly. Although his tone seemed polite, Yi Tianxiong's surroundings were filled with a terrifying aura. After all, this was the family Yi. Yi Tianxiong was the family head now. His son, Yi Wei, had joined the heavenly Xian sect. In Blackrock City, no family dared to offend the high and mighty sect. Not even Yi Jian. Master, I don't mean to be dissatisfied. I just think that it's inappropriate for us to chase Yi Fei away like this. Please reconsider. Yi Jian held back his anger and sincerely pleaded with Yi Tianxiong. Yi Tianxiong's face turned even uglier. He snorted coldly, but before he could say anything, Yi Tianai, who was beside him, said disdainfully, He's just a piece of trash, what's there to think about? My family Yi has limited resources. Trash like Yi Fei has no right to stay in the family Yi. Yes, I support the decision of the patriarch and grand elder. This old man supports it too. Yi Jian, stop being so stubborn. The clan head has good intentions. If that trash continues to stay in the family Yi, he will only suffer more humiliation. It would be better to send him to the countryside, give him a few mu of land, and let him live a stable life as an ordinary person. Wouldn't that be better? The elders present chimed in one after another. Other than Yi Jian, no one dared to publicly contradict the decision of the patriarch. Yi Tianxiong was very satisfied with everyone's reaction. Only when his eyes fell on Yi Jian did an imperceptible chill flash through them. Yi Tianxiong sighed hypocritically. Sigh, Yi Jian, do you think I want to chase Yi Fei away? But it's been 3 years. Even if his dantian showed signs of recovery, as his uncle, I would do my best to help him. But 3 years have passed and he's still a piece of trash. Even if I want to keep him, for the sake of the clan, I have to chase him away. Bam! Before Yi Tianxiong could finish, the door to the meeting hall was violently kicked open. Who said they wanted to chase me away? Yi Fei walked in without looking at the others. He stared coldly at Yi Tianxiong, who was sitting at the head of the table. He thought to himself, this uncle of mine is really ruthless. Not only did he turn me into a piece of trash, Now he wants to chase me out of the clan. He also knew why Yi Tianxiong did this. When his father was alive, his prestige in the clan was extremely high. Even if he died, as his son, he had the right to inherit the patriarch's position. This was why Yi Tianxiong wanted to chase him away. Only by completely chasing him out of the family Yi could Yi Tianxiong and his father sit firmly on the patriarch's throne. How could Yi Fei let this old thing have his way? He simply kicked the door open and barged in. It's Yi Fei. Is this piece of trash really crazy? The meeting hall is an important place in the clan. How dare he just kick the door open? That's not right. This kid's aura. First stage of the martial path. How is that possible? Could it be that Yi Fei's dantian has recovered? Everyone present was an elder of the family Yi. They all had profound strength. They could tell at a glance that Yi Fei who barged in was not only not a piece of trash, but he also had the aura of a first stage of the martial path. The elders were all shocked. Yi Tianxiong's face became extremely gloomy. Yi Fei you. Yi Jian was so agitated that his words were incoherent. He rushed over and looked at Yi Fei. He almost couldn't speak clearly. A destroyed dantian was a piece of trash. There was no way to recover it. At least in a small place like Blackrock City, there was no way to do so. But now Yi Fei's dantian had recovered and his strength had reached the first stage of the martial path. How could Yi Jian not be shocked and pleasantly surprised? Yi Fei, what happened to you? How did your dantian recover? Great Elder Yi Tianai panicked. He couldn't believe that Yi Fei could recover after becoming a piece of trash. Yi Fei sneered and glanced at the elders. What? You don't want me to recover? Did you really think that I sat under the waterfall for 3 years for nothing? In fact, there was a spiritual herb hidden under the waterfall. I waited for 3 years for it to bloom and bear fruit to recover my dantian. As for the recovery of his dantian, Yi Fei had already thought of a reason long ago. The undying sword soul was definitely not something that could be exposed. Thus, he could only push the blame onto spiritual herbs. In this world, there were indeed some miraculous spiritual herbs that could heal damaged dantians. Hearing this reason, the elders didn't doubt it. After all, such a fortuitous encounter wasn't rare in the martial world. Yi Fei had indeed sat under the waterfall like a madman for 3 years. It was probably to protect the spiritual herb. For a moment, the elders looked at Yi Fei with burning eyes. One had to know that 3 years ago, Yi Fei was definitely the pride of the family Yi. If Yi Fei could recover, the elders present would immediately change their attitude and support Yi Fei. Yi Tianxiong noticed this. His gloomy face had already turned dark. With great difficulty, he squeezed out a smile and said, "It's really recovered. That's a good thing." "That's right, Yi Fei, what level is your dantian now?" "First grade Huang grade," Yi Fei said truthfully. "What? First grade Huang grade? That means that the spiritual herb only recovered your dantian, but not your dantian grade? He is indeed a piece of trash. A first grade dantian is simply trash. To think that we were so excited for half a day, thinking that this piece of trash had recovered his talent. What a waste of time." Hearing that Yi Fei only recovered his dantian but his talent was trash, the elders' hopeful faces were filled with coldness, disdain, and even disgust. What is the meaning of this? Yi Fei finally recovered his dantian. This is a happy occasion. What kind of attitude is this? Yi Jian was a straightforward person. He was even more dissatisfied with the elders' attitude towards Yi Fei. In Yi Jian's heart, no matter if Yi Fei was a genius or a piece of trash, Yi Fei would always be the young master of the family Yi in his heart. The angry Yi Jian immediately wanted to reason with the elders. Chapter 5. Cruel and unscrupulous. Ignoring the elders, Yi Fei stared coldly at Yi Tianxiong, who was sitting on the main seat, and said, "Master, you wanted to expel me because I couldn't cultivate. Now that my dantian has been restored, the family has no reason to expel me. The elders' faces were ugly. Just a moment ago, they swore that Yi Fei was a cripple who couldn't cultivate and should be expelled from the family. Now that Yi Fei's dantian had been restored, even if it was the lowest grade of yellow-grade dantian, Yi Fei had the right to cultivate again. Their excuse to expel Yi Fei was no longer valid. Yi Tianxiong's face was even more stiff. After a long while, he put on a fake smile and nodded. Yi Fei, don't blame Uncle. Uncle wants you to go to the countryside for your own good. I don't mean to make things difficult for you. Is that so? But compared to going back to the countryside to farm, I still want to cultivate. Master, please grant me my wish. Yi Fei's words were loud and clear. Yi Tianxiong felt as if an invisible slap had landed on his face. He wanted nothing more than to kill this piece of trash who dared to defy him. But when he saw Yi Jian standing beside Yi Fei, Yi Tianxiong forced himself to hold back his anger. Fine, you can stay in the family to cultivate, but only for a month. If you can't break through to the second stage of the martial path within a month, then it means that you have no future in the martial path. When the time comes, we'll discuss if you want to go to the countryside to farm. What do you think? Yi Tianxiong looked at Yi Fei in a seemingly fair manner. Ignoring Yi Jian's desperate gaze, Yi Fei sneered without thinking and said, "Sure, within a month, I will definitely break through to the second stage of the martial path." "Good, you have ambition. You are indeed the pride of our family, Yi. Yi Fei, you have to work hard," Yi Tianxiong encouraged. His gaze towards Yi Fei was filled with coldness and disdain. He turned around and strode out of the meeting room. The other elders were the same. They all thought that Yi Fei was really crazy. He actually wanted to rely on a first-grade Huang-level trash dantian to break through to the second stage of the martial path in a month. This was simply impossible. After everyone left, Yi Jian's face revealed a bitter smile. He sighed heavily and said, "Yi Fei, you were too impulsive just now. Yi Tianxiong's request, how could you agree?" "How could I not agree? He is the head of the family. If he really wants to deal with me, do you think you can stop him, Uncle Jian?" Yi Fei sneered. Yi Jian fell silent. If it was 2 years ago when Yi Tianxiong was busy monopolizing the power of the family, he could still listen to Yi Fei. But now, most of the elders in the family were under Yi Tianxiong's control. If Yi Tianxiong wanted to go against Yi Fei, he could not stop him alone. In the end, Yi Jian could only grit his teeth and said, "Fine, since you have decided, Uncle Jian will definitely support you. Yi Fei, remember, no matter what happens, Uncle Jian will always be on your side." "Uncle Jian, thank you." Yi Fei was deeply moved. Father was right. In the entire family, anyone could betray, except for Yi Jian. He would never betray anyone. This was a true, loyal, and iron-blooded man. "What are you thanking me for? My life, Yi Jian, belongs to your father and to you. Besides, Uncle Jian watched you and your sister grow up. In my heart, you are just like my children. Yi Fei, if you need anything, just tell Uncle Jian. As long as Uncle Jian can do it, I will not refuse." Yi Fei was deeply moved, but he did not say anything. There was only one voice in his heart, and that was to work hard and cultivate. Whether it was for Uncle Jian or his sister, Yi Shanshan, he had to recover his strength as soon as possible. Only then would he be able to repay Yi Jian's kindness and protect his sister better. But before that, "Uncle Jian, there is something I really need your help with." Yi Fei scratched his head and said a little embarrassedly, "Something big happened in the family Yi today. Not only did the good-for-nothing Yi Fei recover his dantian, but he also caused a ruckus in the family Ye's meeting room. When the news spread, the juniors of the family Yi, who were still cultivating in the martial arts arena, were all shocked and started talking about it. That's impossible. Wasn't Yi Fei's dantian destroyed 3 years ago? How could he recover like that? I heard that the good-for-nothing found a spiritual herb in the waterfall and waited for it for 3 years. Finally, he used it to recover his dantian. This is bad. If Brother Fei recovers, he will definitely be the #1 genius in the family Yi. We used to ridicule him, so if he hates us. When they heard that Yi Fei's dantian had really recovered, most of the family Yes juniors in the martial arts arena turned pale. 3 years ago, Yi Fei had been too dazzling. He had suppressed all the young talents in Blackrock City to the point that they could not breathe. How could they not be afraid? Only the family Yes juniors who knew the inside story did not change their expressions. They coldly mocked, "Haha, genius?" That spiritual herb did indeed recover Yi Fei's dantian, but it only made his dantian's quality stay at first-grade Huang rank. The current Yi Fei is basically our family Yes #1 trash. What? A first-grade Huang rank dantian? That's trash. A good-for-nothing is indeed a good-for-nothing. Even after using the spiritual herb, it can't change his nature as a good-for-nothing. It's a pity about that spiritual herb. If only I could eat it. This good-for-nothing is really lucky. When they heard that Yi Fei's dantian was only first-grade Huang rank, the family Yes juniors' frightened expressions immediately turned into indifference and disdain. The closer they saw Yi Fei, the louder their mocking voices became. Yi Fei could not be bothered with these senseless people. He did not have the strength now, so it was useless to say anything. Once he increased his strength, this group of people would naturally shut their mouth. Rather than arguing with them here, Yi Fei wanted to rush to the martial pavilion and do something that he had wanted to try for a long time. "Hey, isn't this our family Yes #1 genius? I heard that a good-for-nothing like you got lucky and recovered your dantian. Since we've met, please give us some pointers, genius." A sarcastic voice came from behind the crowd. A young man in his early 20s, dressed in black, walked out and instantly blocked Yi Fei's path. Yi Lang. Looking at the person who appeared, Yi Fei's eyes could not help but reveal a trace of anger. This Yi Lang was his foster brother. When he was 5 years old, his father picked him up while he was out training. It was said that at that time, Yi Lang's biological parents had also died in the mouths of demonic beasts. When he was young, he could only live in the garbage dump and snatch rubbish from wild dogs. It was his father who pitied him and adopted him, even naming him Yi Lang. Since he was young, Yi Fei had always respected Yi Lang as an elder brother. He knew that Yi Lang's talent was mediocre and his cultivation was slow. He also followed his father's instructions and gave half of the cultivation resources given to him by the family for Yi Lang to cultivate. His younger sister, Yi Shanshan, even gave all her cultivation resources to Yi Lang. This allowed Yi Lang, with his mediocre talent, to raise his strength to the upper tier of the family Yes juniors. But how did Yi Lang treat the siblings? His father's corpse had not even turned cold, but this ingrate immediately turned around and became Yi Tianxiong's adopted son. He even took advantage of his dantian being destroyed and was powerless to resist to take away all the wealth that their father had left for them. Now that he had met his enemy, Yi Fei's eyes were exceptionally red. However, he did not act rashly. Instead, he walked around Yi Lang and continued forward. Chapter 6. Sword 13 Style. Seeing that Yi Fei was about to leave, Yi Lang's eyes turned sinister. He had no intention of letting Yi Fei go. Instead, he turned to the side and blocked Yi Fei's path. He said arrogantly, "Trash, stop right there. I'm still your elder brother. You trash, how can you be so impolite in front of your elder brother? Hurry up and kneel down and greet me as Brother Wolf. Ungrateful bastard. How did my father treat you? How did you treat me and my father? You still want to be my elder brother? Scram to the side and shut your dog mouth. Speaking to you makes me want to vomit." Yi Fei didn't show any signs of weakness. He opened his mouth and cursed. The surrounding family Yi disciples all looked at Yi Lang and Yi Fei with a strange expression. They secretly thought that this trash had really gone crazy. He actually dared to curse Yi Lang like that. One had to know that Yi Lang's talent wasn't that great, but his strength was very strong. He was now a great expert in the 6th stage of the martial path. Trash, what nonsense are you talking about? I, Yi Lang, am where I am today because of my own hard work. It has nothing to do with you and your father. You actually dare to curse me now? Yi Lang was very angry. He first defended himself, then flew into a rage out of humiliation and threw a punch at Yi Fei. Yi Fei, you've been a trash for 3 years and you still can't recognize reality. Today, as your elder brother, I'm going to beat you up and wake you up. Yi Fei didn't say anything. Facing Yi Lang's punch, he only did his best to throw a punch. Yi Lang immediately changed his move. At the same time, he dodged Yi Fei's punch and suddenly hit Yi Fei's body with his palm. Trash, why aren't you lying on the ground yet? Yi Lang's face flashed with a trace of pride. Although he couldn't kill Yi Fei in front of everyone, with his 6th stage of the martial path strength, he could still beat Yi Fei up and humiliate him wantonly. Bang! How could Yi Fei allow this person to do as he wished? His body could not withstand the attack, so he immediately activated the last remaining bit of energy in his body. The energy of the black dagger forcefully neutralized most of the force behind Yi Lang's palm. His body stood firmly on the ground, leaving behind 2 deep footprints. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. Right now, Yi Fei's strength was only at the 1st stage of the martial path. It was already very difficult for him to block the palm of Yi Lang, who was at the 6th stage of the martial path. Therefore, it was inevitable that he would be slightly injured. Bastard! Everything you did to my father and this palm strike, I will remember it all. Life is full of ups and downs. Let's wait and see. Yi Fei very calmly wiped off the trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Without even looking at Yi Lang, he turned around and left in large strides, leaving behind only his straight and unyielding back. This caused many of the Yi clan's disciples to be stunned for a long time. A 1st stage of the martial path was actually able to block a 6th stage of the martial path. Even though it was just a casual strike from Yi Lang, Yi Fei's performance still puzzled many people. In a trance, Yi Lang seemed to see the stunning figure of 3 years ago, who had suppressed all the youths in Black Rock City. But that was 3 years ago when Yi Fei was still a genius. The current Yi Fei was just a piece of trash. How could such a temperament appear on his body once again? Looking at Yi Fei's departing figure, Yi Lang's eyes suddenly flashed with an ominous glint. Yi Fei, I will not let you rise again. Since you have already been a piece of trash for 3 years, then you better be a piece of trash forever. No, letting him become a piece of trash is letting him off too easily. I want him to become a dead man. At this moment, Yi Fei naturally did not know that Yi Lang already had the intention to kill him. Quickly passing through the martial arts practice field, he had already entered the family Ye's important place, the martial pavilion. The martial pavilion stored all the martial arts techniques collected by the family Yi, but most of them were low-grade yellow rank. There were very few middle-grade and high-grade martial arts techniques. Of course, he did not come here this time to practice these low-grade martial arts techniques. Ever since he saw the destructive illusion of the huge black sword, Yi Fei swore in his heart that in this life, he had to become the strongest sword cultivator. Not only did he want to use the best sword, but he also wanted to learn the best sword technique. Coincidentally, Yi Fei remembered that 3 years ago, when he came to the martial pavilion, he accidentally discovered that the family Yi had hidden a black rank sword technique. But that sword technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. In the entire family Yi, no one had been able to cultivate it for 100 years. Those who were not talented enough could not even comprehend the moves inside. 3 years ago, Yi Fei could be said to be extremely talented, so his father made an exception and let him try to cultivate it. In the end, he also failed, but Yi Fei was not satisfied. Now that he had the mysterious black sword in his body, Yi Fei wanted to try and see if he could comprehend the black rank sword technique. Ha, found it! In the most remote corner of the martial pavilion, Yi Fei found the old, yellowed thread-bound book. It was still the same as 3 years ago, covered in dust. In these 3 years, no one cared about it. But in Yi Fei's eyes, this was already the most powerful sword technique in the family Yi, or even in the entire Blackrock City. As long as he mastered it, it was even possible to kill someone above his level. Great-grandfather, I want to register and borrow this martial arts technique. Holding the sword manual, Yi Fei hurriedly and respectfully walked to the side of an old man with a white beard. This old man was the founding member of the family Yi from 2 generations ago. Everyone had died except for him. In the family, many people had forgotten his name, so they all addressed him as great-grandfather. Hey Yi Fei, what's wrong with you? Now that your dantian has recovered, you should focus on your cultivation. Why do you want to borrow this martial art again? Didn't you try it 3 years ago? Your talent isn't enough. Don't even think about cultivating this sword art. You'd better change to another one. The old man looked at the sword art that Yi Fei had brought over, faintly angry. 3 years ago, when you were extremely talented, you were still unable to comprehend this sword technique. Now that you have become a complete cripple, do you still want to be delusional and think that you can comprehend anything? But these words were too hurtful, so the old man did not want to discourage Yi Fei. Yi Fei did not know what the old man was thinking. Once he set his mind on something, he would definitely not turn back. Great-grandfather, I have still decided to borrow this sword manual. Fool! Yi Fei, I did not expect that after being a cripple for 3 years, not only did you not learn to be self-aware, you even became so arrogant. Scram! Just take it that my previous advice was in vain. The old man was finally angry. With a face full of disappointment, he sent out a gust of wind, which actually sent Yi Fei flying out of the martial library. Yi Fei's face immediately turned bitter. He thought to himself that this great-grandfather was still the same. His temper was so bad. Wasn't he looking down on him a little too much? However, the more it was like this, the more Yi Fei's fighting spirit was stimulated. Great-grandfather, just wait and see. I will definitely find a way to master this sword technique. In a month, I will return the sword manual. According to the family Ye's rules, the disciples of the family Yi could only borrow the martial arts technique for a month. When the time was up, regardless of whether they mastered it or not, they had to return it. Chapter 7. Heaven-defying sword spirit. Yi Fei didn't care about what other people thought. Since he had already decided to practice this sword technique, then even 9 bulls wouldn't be able to pull him back. This was similar to how he was able to sit under the waterfall for 3 years without saying a word. Holding the sword manual, Yi Fei hurried home. As soon as he reached the door, he smelled the aroma of rice. Yi Shanshan had already prepared dinner inside. 3 dishes and a soup. They were all Yi Fei's favorite dishes. What surprised him the most was that there was a bottle of pills on the table. What was going on? Ever since his dantian was destroyed, the family no longer provided him and his sister with any cultivation resources. Even their monthly allowance was cut off. Yi Fei hadn't seen a luxury item like elixirs for the past 3 years. Sister, where did you get these pills? Just then, Yi Shanshan came out with a bowl and chopstick. Yi Fei pointed at the pills on the table and asked. Yi Shanshan also smiled and replied, Brother Fei, these pills are from Uncle Jian. He wants you to focus on your cultivation and not worry about anything else. Uncle Jian is too kind. Yi Fei finally understood that the pills were from Yi Jian. As for why he didn't give them to him in person, it was because Yi Jian knew that Yi Fei was a very independent person. If he gave them to him in person, Yi Jian was afraid that Yi Fei would refuse. He might as well send them directly to his house. This way, Yi Fei wouldn't have a reason to refuse. Yi Shanshan also understood this point. She suddenly hugged Yi Fei's arm and shook it seriously. Brother Fei, I know that you've always been independent and don't ask for help from others. But Uncle Jian also has good intentions. You can't refuse. Girl, if you want to persuade me to accept it, just say it. Why are you beating around the bush? Yi Fei thought about it. He really needed the pills to recover his strength, so he didn't refuse. At most, when he became stronger in the future, he would repay Yi Jian tenfold, or even 100-fold. A drop of water should be repaid with a spring. This was what his father had taught him since he was young. The siblings chatted as they ate dinner. Yi Shanshan was busy cleaning up the dishes. Yi Fei turned around and went back to his room. He took out the bottle of pills and carefully poured one out. His eyes lit up. It's actually a spirit pill. This is the best low-grade pill. Uncle Jian actually gave me 10 pills at once. Breaking through to the second stage of the martial path won't be a problem. What Yi Fei didn't know was that these spirit pills were very rare in the entire Blackrock City. Yi Jian had accumulated them for more than 10 years and had only managed to accumulate 10 pills with great difficulty. He couldn't even bear to give it to his own son. But now, he actually gave it all to Yi Fei in one go. The spirit pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth, forming a shocking amount of spirit qi. It didn't rush into Yi Fei's body, but into the mysterious small black sword. After absorbing the energy from the pills, the small black sword immediately emitted a strange sword intent, which was fed back into Yi Fei's dantian. Yi Fei was shocked to feel that his dantian had undergone a shocking change. The quality of his dantian was actually increasing. If a first-grade Huang-ranked dantian was only a small puddle, then after absorbing the energy from the small black sword, the small puddle in his dantian increased from 1 to 2, and then to 3. A third-grade Huang-ranked dantian. Yi Fei couldn't believe it. One must know that the quality of the dantian was innate. It was extremely difficult to increase it after birth. But now, his dantian had increased from first-grade Huang-ranked to third-grade Huang-ranked just by taking a few pills. No one would believe such a situation. As expected of the immortal sword spirit that can cut through the galaxy. It can actually increase the quality of my dantian by swallowing pills. This ability is too heaven-defying. Doesn't that mean that as long as I get enough pills, I can continuously increase my talent and surpass the Huang rank and even reach a higher rank? Yi Fei's face was filled with excitement. At first, he was worried that even if he recovered his dantian with his first-grade Huang-rank talent, it would be difficult for him to return to his peak state from 3 years ago. It seemed that he was worried for nothing. With the immortal sword spirit, not to mention recovering his strength from 3 years ago, as long as he was willing, he could quickly surpass it. Yi Tianxiong, Yi Wei, and Yi Lang, you better wash your necks and wait for me. Everything that belongs to us, father and son, I will soon take it back. For 3 consecutive days, Yi Fei didn't leave his room and crazily cultivated. 3 days later, a sound came from Yi Fei's room. Yi Fei opened his eyes with a face full of surprise. Finally, the second grade of the martial path. A high-ranked dantian really does have a different cultivation speed. If he still had a first-grade Huang-ranked dantian, not to mention 3 days, breaking through to the second grade of the martial path in a month would be difficult. Pushing open the door, Yi Fei took out the iron beheading sword that he used to cultivate. He hurriedly ran to an empty space, and took out the profound level sword technique and seriously comprehended it. Sword 13 Style. This was the name of the profound level sword technique. It was said that 100 years ago, an ancestor of the family Yi obtained it from outside. Unfortunately, the requirements for this sword technique were too high. Without enough talent, it was impossible to learn. Yi Fei also tried to comprehend it with an attitude of giving it a try. So that's how it is. The Sword 13 style is indeed amazing. Every time it is comprehended, it can increase the attack by 1-fold. If all 13 styles are mastered, one sword will instantly increase the attack by 13-fold. This damage is simply explosive. If I can learn this sword technique, then with my current strength of the 2nd grade of the martial path, doesn't that mean that I can challenge experts of the 6th or 7th grade of the martial path and win? Profound level sword techniques are awesome. No matter what, I must learn it. This way, my sister and I will have the ability to protect ourselves. Wait, I think I already learned it. About half an hour passed. Yi Fei was shocked. He had only read the sword technique once, but in his mind, all the sword techniques of the Sword 13 style appeared clearly. How was this possible? 3 years ago, when he had a 6th grade Huang-ranked Dantian and had amazing talent, he could only barely comprehend the first 4 styles before vomiting blood and retreating. But now, he only had a 3rd grade Huang-ranked Dantian and the strength of the 2nd grade of the martial path. How could he comprehend it after just reading it once? Could it be that the undying sword soul, in addition to increasing the quality of my Dantian, also imperceptibly increasing my comprehension? As for whether it was true or not, he would know after trying it out. Sword 13 style, 1st style. Schwa. Yi Fei stood up from the ground and began to madly practice his sword technique. He even displayed the 1st style directly to the 13th style without any pause in between. He had truly comprehended it completely. At the same time, Yi Fei also felt that as he displayed the sword technique, the undying sword soul in his body actually transformed into layers of sword shadows within his Dantian. If one looked closely, one would discover that these sword shadows were actually all the sword techniques of the Sword 13 style. The undying sword soul is actually able to follow me and practice the sword at the same time. The increase in my comprehension is indeed related to it. More accurately, it is related to the black energy released by the undying sword soul. 3 days ago, Yi Fei had discovered that after the undying sword soul absorbed the essence-gathering pill, it released a small portion of the black energy. Other than increasing the quality of his Dantian, there was still a small portion left. It must be this remaining energy that allowed his sword practice speed to increase rapidly, which was why he was able to grasp the Sword 13 style so quickly. As his consciousness sank into his Dantian, Yi Fei could still feel that with the appearance of the undying sword soul's sword shadows, the traces of black energy were also rapidly being consumed. In such a short period of time, a small portion of the remaining black energy had already been consumed. Yi Fei did not want to waste it like this. He hurriedly raised the iron beheading sword and continued practicing. Sword 13 style, 1st style. 2nd style. Chapter 8. Blackstone Mountain Range. Yi Fei directly used up all the black energy in his body. Only then did he finish this crazy training while gasping for breath. Without the support of the black energy, Yi Fei was unable to do anything. Without the black energy, the undying sword soul no longer released sword shadows to synchronize with Yi Fei's practice. Instead, it disappeared into Yi Fei's body. At the same time, Yi Fei, who had rested for a while, dragged his tired body and prepared to continue practicing. He had already realized that the speed of his practice this time was even slower than that of a tortoise. The efficiency was so low that it was unbearable to look at. Looks like my guess was right. My talent and perception increase is related to the black energy released by the undying sword soul. If I want to maintain a high cultivation speed, I have to let the undying sword soul release more black energy. This also means that I have to think of a way to get more pills. Yi Fei stopped practicing his sword with a distressed look on his face. Right now, many people in the Yi clan saw him as a thorn in their side. Other than Yi Jian, who would be willing to waste pills on a trash like him. Asking Yi Jian to ask the family Yi Jian for the pills, Yi Fei thought for a while and decided that it was not possible. Uncle Jian is being suppressed by Yi Tianxiong in the family Yi Jian. It's already difficult for him to take out 10 essence-gathering pills. How can I continue to trouble Uncle Jian? Solve your own problems by yourself. Would a living person die from holding his bladder? Since the family Yi Fei could not do it, Yi Fei immediately thought of starting from Blackstone City. Buying pills through the Chamber of Commerce would be the same. Coincidentally, he recently heard that a Chamber of Commerce was offering a high price to buy Vicious Beast's beast cores. This way, as long as he could get enough beast cores, he would have enough money to buy pills. Yes, that's what I'll do. Now that I've grasped the basics of Sword 13, with the explosive power of this profound level sword technique, even if I meet a 5th or 6th stage Vicious Beasts, I might be able to kill them. Tomorrow, I'll go to the Blackstone Mountain Range to hunt Vicious Beasts for money. The Blackstone Mountain Range was the most dangerous area around the Blackstone City. There were countless vicious beasts inside. Many warriors entered but never came out. At the same time, it was filled with all kinds of natural treasures and spirit herbs. Therefore, even if they knew that there was only a slim chance of survival, there were still many warriors who took the risk to enter. Early the next morning, Yi Fei worriedly told Yi Shanshan about his plans to train in the Blackstone Mountains. He was afraid that the girl would object. Yi Shanshan did not say anything. She only revealed a sweet smile and waved her little fist to encourage Yi Fei. Big brother Fei, don't worry. I believe that you will definitely rise again. Do your best. Yes, I will do my best. Little sister, you have to be careful when I'm not around. If you have any problems, go to Uncle Jian. Yi Fei looked at his little sister's long dress that had already been washed white. He suddenly felt a burst of sadness. These 3 years had really been hard on this girl. In order to stop his little sister from suffering, he had to enter the Blackstone Mountain Range, no matter how dangerous it was. Big brother, you are so long-winded. I'm not a child. I can take care of myself. Yi Shanshan pursed her lips in dissatisfaction and stopped washing her clothes. She even pretended to wipe her hands that were covered in foam at Yi Fei's face. Yi Fei also pretended to retreat in panic. He carried the iron-cutter sword on his back and quickly fled. Yi Shanshan's giggles came from behind him, but as she laughed, her tears began to flow. She looked at Yi Fei's back and shouted, "Big brother Fei, you have to come back alive. Shanshan will always be waiting for you." Yi Fei's body suddenly stiffened. He did not say a word. He only walked out with firm step. The Blackstone Mountain Range was filled with endless beast roars. The sky was covered by towering ancient trees and towering peak. In this place, vicious beasts were the true masters of the forest. Even the lowest level of vicious beasts had the power to destroy a village. As a normal person, they would not dare to approach such a dangerous place. Even warriors would not be able to withstand the charm of the Blackstone Mountain Range. There were large numbers of vicious beasts here. The materials on their bodies were extremely valuable, especially the beast cores of vicious beasts. They were essential ingredients for many elixirs. Many merchant associations had set up branches in Blackstone City in order to spend large amounts of money to purchase the beast cores here. If one was lucky, they could find elixirs here and make a fortune. Even though warriors died in the mountain range every day and became food for the vicious beasts, there were still many warriors who took the risk and entered the mountain range in search of treasures. It had been 3 days since Yi Fei entered the Blackstone Mountain Range. In the beginning, he only dared to move around the edges of the mountain range and provoke the lowest level of vicious beasts to hone his swordsmanship. Ferocious beasts were also divided into different levels. Low-level ferocious beasts were equivalent to human martial artists in the 1st to 3rd stage of the martial path. Mid-level ferocious beasts were in the 4th to 6th stage, and high-level ferocious beasts were in the 7th to 9th stage. If they reached 10th stage, vicious beasts would evolve into the most terrifying demonic beasts. Once, Yi Fei's father was attacked by a terrifying demonic beast on the road and died from serious injuries. However, the timing of the demonic beast's appearance was too coincidental. Even now, Yi Fei still suspected that his encounter with the demonic beast 3 years ago was not as simple as a coincidence. Roar. A tiger's roar interrupted Yi Fei's thoughts. It was a ferocious tiger with a pitch-black body. It charged out of the forest in a frenzy. It was actually a ghost-faced tiger, which was equivalent to the middle-level vicious beasts in the 5th stage of the martial path. Yi Fei's expression changed. The ghost-faced tiger's most distinctive feature was that it didn't have the word king on its forehead, but rather a sinister ghost-faced stripe. At the same time, this kind of ferocious beast was the most vengeful. Once it was provoked, it would not rest until its prey was killed. Yi Fei also didn't expect that he would encounter the most difficult middle-level vicious beasts, the ghost-faced tiger, while he was just wandering around the edges of the mountain range. It could be seen that the Blackstone mountain range was more dangerous than he had imagined. Kill. Without hesitation, Yi Fei, who had just killed a low-level vicious beast, charged at the ghost-faced tiger without even having time to wipe the blood off his sword. Roar. The ghost-faced tiger was instantly enraged. Seeing that a puny human in the 2nd stage of the martial path dared to attack it, it swiped at Yi Fei with its huge claws that carried traces of black qi. Not good. That's the ghost-faced tiger's unique ghostly qi. Once caught by the ghost-faced tiger, the person will become its slave after death. Yi Fei was shocked, but he didn't hesitate. He stabbed out with all his might using the 13th sword style. After 3 days of bloody fighting, Yi Fei's sword was filled with a shocking killing intent. Die. The sword flashed, tiger's head fall. Faced with Yi Fei's 13-fold critical strike, even though the ghost-faced tiger's level was higher than Yi Fei's, it was still easily killed by Yi Fei's sword. This was the result of Yi Fei's 3 days of desperate fighting with the vicious beasts. The mystic sword style is really strong. It actually allowed me to kill the ghost-faced tiger in the 5th stage of the martial path when I was in the 2nd stage of the martial path. Does that mean that I can fight against the vicious beasts in the 6th stage of the martial path now? Yi Fei was very surprised that he could kill the ghost-faced tiger so easily. Then, he was pleasantly surprised. The ghost-faced tiger was a mid-level vicious beast. Its beast core could be sold for a lot of money. Yi Fei hurried over and quickly dug out the beast core from the ghost-faced tiger's body. At this moment, a roar came from the back of the mountain not far away. However, it wasn't from the vicious beast. It was the screams of humans before they died. At the back of the mountain, 7 or 8 members of the family were holding swords with bloodthirsty expressions as they chased after a few rogue cultivators. These rogue cultivators were all treasure hunters from the Blackstone City Chamber of Commerce. Normally, they were responsible for searching for treasures and spirit herbs in the Blackstone mountain range. It was a high-risk job, but it provided a path of cultivation for the commoners who didn't have a family clan. However, these treasure hunters were unlucky today. They had discovered a treasure trove, but before they could explore it, they were ambushed and killed by a few members of the family Yi. The last remaining middle-aged man was so frightened that he turned around and ran for his life. Family Yi members, you are getting more and more overboard. If your previous family head was still alive, he definitely wouldn't have allowed you to do such a disgraceful thing. Ha ha, you also know that that was the previous generation. Now we are arrogant and overbearing. What can you do about it? Pooh! Following a maniacal laugh, a black-clothed youth in front cruelly twisted the head of the fleeing middle-aged man with his bare hands. The few members of the family were so frightened that their faces turned pale. They quickly flattered, as expected of Brother Lang. No matter how fast this guy ran, he was still beheaded by Brother Lang's sword. Haha, our luck is pretty good this time. Originally, we wanted to follow these treasure hunters and snatch a few spirit herbs. Who would have thought that we would actually find a spirit energy pool? Once we absorb the spirit energy inside, our strength will definitely increase exponentially. When that time comes, the first thing I will do when I return to the family clan is to personally beat that trash Yi Fei back to his original form. After killing the treasure hunters and accidentally obtaining the spirit energy pool, which was something that could only be found by chance, Yi Lang was in an extremely good mood. He immediately threw his head back and laughed loudly. Chapter 9. Do you dare to fight? Yi Fei rushed down from the other side of the mountain with his blood-dripping sword in hand. He had a look of regret on his face as he was too late to stop Yi Lang. Hey, isn't this the big trash from Family Yi? He must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts. Seeing Brother Wolf here, he didn't hurry to scram. Instead, he dared to appear in public. Realizing that there was an ambush here, these Family Yi disciples were shocked. They thought that an expert was going to ambush them. In the end, they realized that it was Yi Fei, the infamous big trash from Family Yi. They all laughed at him. Yi Lang was also stunned. Then, he shook his head in disdain and said, Yi Fei, I said you were trash. Don't you believe me? You've already become a good-for-nothing, yet you still haven't learned your lesson. That's right, I'm the one who said that I'm going to turn you into a complete good-for-nothing, so that you'll never be able to make a comeback. Oh right, there's also that beautiful sister of yours. After you die, I'll propose to the patriarch and beg him to marry Yi Shanshan to me. How about it? Satisfied my ass. Yi Lang, it looks like I was wrong. Calling someone like you a beast is already praising you. You're even worse than a beast. Yi Fei's eyes flashed coldly. His sister was his last family member. He would fight anyone who dared to bully Yi Shanshan. Yi Fei, what are you scolding me for? Don't think that I, Yi Lang, will be grateful to you just because you and your father have given me some small favors. I, Yi Lang, am where I am today because of my hard work and my ability to adapt to circumstances. I have never done anything wrong to you. On the other hand, it's a piece of trash like you who insulted me time and time again. Do you really think I don't dare to kill you? Yi Lang's expression was extremely ugly. Yi Fei had already aroused his killing intent. Come on, you dog who is worse than a beast. I'm standing right here. If you have the guts, come and kill me. If you can't kill me, then I'll take back everything that my father and I have given you in the past. Yi Fei felt Yi Lang's killing intent, but he didn't back down at all. After hearing Yi Fei's words, not only was Yi Lang not afraid, the surrounding Family Yi members all started laughing maniacally. Wahahaha, look at how arrogant this trash is. Yi Fei, do you still think you're the genius from 3 years ago? The current you is just a big piece of trash in my Family Yi. How dare you be so rude to Brother Wolf? Brother Wolf, this piece of trash is courting death. If we don't fulfill his wish, we'll be letting down his arrogant words. I'll help you teach him how to be a good piece of trash. Sensing Yi Lang's killing intent towards Yi Fei, the smartest Family Yi member had already volunteered to go to the front and take the initiative to ask Yi Lang to fight. This person wasn't loyal to Yi Lang, but he knew that behind Yi Lang stood Yi Tianxiong and Yi Long, the new genius of the Family Yi. As long as he curried favor with Yi Lang and said a few good words to the head of the Family Yi and young Master Long, then he would definitely gain a lot of benefits in the Family Yi. Alright, since this piece of trash dared to insult me like that, then you go up and cut off his tongue for me. Make sure he can't say anything else. Yi Lang said arrogantly. He also felt that it was beneath his status to deal with a piece of trash as a great expert in the 6th stage of the martial path. Alright, Brother Wolf, you old man, watch carefully. Piece of trash, have you been scared silly? Hurry up and stick out your tongue so I can cut it off. The Family Yi member was respectful to Yi Lang, but to Yi Fei, he wasn't polite at all. As he spoke, he directly stabbed his sword towards Yi Fei's ear. Yi Lang had only ordered to cut off Yi Fei's tongue, but this person went even further and cut off one of Yi Fei's ears. You're courting death. Since you like being a dog so much, then you can be a dead dog. A cold light flashed in Yi Fei's eyes. He did not wait for the man's sword to stab him. Before the sword could reach him, Yi Fei quickly pulled out his sword and attacked. The whole process didn't even take a second. The resplendent sword light flashed and disappeared. A head had already rolled to the ground at his feet. It was the head of the family Yi member. Even in death, he couldn't believe that Yi Fei could kill him in one strike. Boom! The surviving members of the Yi clan all turned deathly pale. What had they just witnessed? Yi Fei had actually killed one of their comrades with a single sword strike. How is this possible? Didn't Yi Fei become a piece of trash? What kind of sword technique was that? It was so fast that I couldn't even see it clearly. Does our family Yi have such a sword technique? As they discussed in fear, their gazes towards Yi Fei suddenly revealed a hint of fear. Yi Lang was even more shocked. He stared at Yi Fei and said with an ugly expression, "Second stage of the martial path. How long has it been? You piece of trash, you actually broke through." "Yi Lang, shut your dog mouth. A beast like you has no right to talk to me. Now let me ask you one thing. Do you dare to fight?" Yi Feijian shook his sword to get rid of the blood on it. Then, he pointed his sword straight at Yi Lang's throat. "Do you dare to fight?" Yi Fei's words were powerful and resonant. It also frightened all the family Yi members. What did they hear? Yi Fei, who was in the second stage of the martial path, actually wanted to challenge Yi Lang, who was in the sixth stage of the martial path. If it was a minute ago, after hearing Yi Fei's words, these family Yi members would have already stepped forward and ridiculed Yi Fei for overestimating himself and seeking death. Now, they looked at their companion who was killed by Yi Fei in one strike. Not only did they not laugh, many of them even subconsciously swallowed their saliva. A bunch of good-for-nothings. Do you really think this piece of trash is the genius from 3 years ago? He's just a piece of trash with a first-grade Huang-ranked dantian. You're afraid of trash like this? Yi Lang saw that his subordinates were actually afraid of Yi Fei. His expression was extremely ugly as he hurriedly encouraged them with words. "Yi Lang, cut the crap. I don't have the time to waste with a beast like you. I'm just asking you, do you dare to fight? If you don't have the guts, then scram." Yi Fei could see that Yi Lang wanted to provoke these people so that they would surround him and attack him together. He wouldn't give Yi Lang the chance to do so. He directly opened his mouth and forced Yi Lang to accept the challenge. "Brother Wolf, this piece of trash looked down on you and even killed our companion. With your strength, you can definitely defeat him. Accept him, accept him. With Brother Wolf's strength, why would he be afraid of a piece of trash's challenge?" These family Yi disciples weren't stupid. Seeing how powerful Yi Fei's swordsmanship was, they didn't dare to fight Yi Fei, but they could instigate Yi Lang to fight Yi Fei one-on-one. In front of everyone's eyes, especially with Yi Fei's strength and the fact that he was publicly recognized as trash by the family Yi, Yi Lang had no reason to reject such a challenge. If he did, then he wouldn't be able to raise his head in the family Yi anymore. Enraged, Yi Lang had no way to retreat. He could only draw his sword and point it at Yi Fei, scolding, "Trash, since you don't want to die fast enough. As your elder brother, I'll fulfill your wish today. Cut the crap. You're worse than a beast. How can you be my elder brother? Hurry up and draw your sword. I'll personally take back everything that my father and I have given you." Yi Fei raised his iron slashing sword. A murderous aura emanated from his body as the sword flashed, scaring the family Yi disciples and causing them to retreat with pale faces. Yi Lang's face was filled with shock. What kind of swordsmanship is that? Just the condensed sword light has such power. It's a pity that trash like you is too weak. No matter how good your swordsmanship is, in front of my absolute strength, you won't be able to survive. Trash, go to hell. Wild wind slash. Yi Lang roared. The long sword in his hand suddenly produced a gust of wind that quickly pierced towards Yi Fei's throat. Before the sword arrived, the surrounding space was already filled with yellow sand. Seeing this, the family Yi disciples who were retreating were invigorated. Wild Wind Slash is a high-grade yellow-level swordsmanship. Even my family Yi only has 3 sets of such swordsmanship. It seems like Brother Wolf is serious this time. Humph, that trash is dead meat. A mere 2nd stage martial path cultivator actually wants to challenge a 6th stage martial path expert. What a reckless fool. He doesn't even know the basics of concealing his strength. Ignoring the few family Yi disciples and their gossip, Yi Fei only had Yi Lang in his eyes. His eyes were fixated on the yellow sand that filled the sky. In the blink of an eye, Yi Fei had already found Yi Fei's true body, who was using the yellow sand to draw closer. A resplendent sword light instantly shot out from Yi Fei's hand. Chapter 10. Fierce and Ruthless Boom. 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 Yi Fei brandished his iron beheading sword. Like lightning, the 10 swords combined into one and directly collided with Yi Lang's Gale Slash. Yi Lang's Gale Slash was 4 levels higher than Yi Fei's. But in the end, the 13th sword style was a Xian-level sword technique. In the entire Blackrock City, there was no sword technique that was stronger than it. A 13-fold critical hit was not something that a mere Yi Lang could withstand. The yellow sand that filled the sky, along with the sword in his hand, were all shattered by Yi Fei's sword. His body was still staggering, being forced back 4 or 5 steps. The gossiping of the Yi clan disciples came to an abrupt end. Each and every one of them were like ducks with their eyes wide open, unable to utter a complete sentence for a long time. 2nd stage of the martial path against a 6th stage of the martial path. Instead, Yi Lang, who was at the 6th stage of the martial path, was forced back with a single strike. Even the sword in his hand was broken. What kind of situation was this? 13th sword style? Trash, how could you learn it? This can't be real. I must be hallucinating. No one in the family Yi has been able to comprehend that sword technique for 100 years. How could this trash be able to comprehend it? Yi Lang was unwilling, extremely unwilling. He looked at Yi Fei with eyes full of shock and fear. What? 13th sword style. The family Yi's only profound level martial art. Didn't the elders say that no one could learn it? Could it be that Brother Fei's Dantian has not only recovered, but his talent has also returned? He's even stronger than 3 years ago. Thinking of this possibility, the few family Yi disciples were so scared that they almost peed their pants. 3 years ago, Yi Fei's talent was already terrifying, shocking the entire Blackrock City. Now, after 3 years of being trash, not only was Yi Fei not defeated, his talent was even more terrifying than 3 years ago. He was even able to easily learn the 13th sword style that no one in the family Yi had been able to learn. What was a genius? This was a true genius. Even if he had been silent for 3 years, once he rose up, no one could block his dazzling light. No, that's impossible. This must be fake. Yi Fei, I don't believe that a piece of trash like you can comprehend the 13th sword style. If you couldn't do it 3 years ago, then it's even more impossible now. Tell me, what kind of evil technique are you cultivating? Yi Lang roared. He found it hard to accept that his sworn brother, who he had always treated as trash and trampled under his feet, could actually make a comeback one day. The intense jealousy made Yi Lang unable to wait for an answer. Taking advantage of the fact that Yi Fei wasn't paying attention, Yi Lang smiled coldly and suddenly snatched someone's sword. He quickly aimed at Yi Fei and slashed again. Trash, go to hell. I won't let you rise. Yi Fei, you will be trash for the rest of your life. Die here. Idiot. You were no match for me just now. Do you really think that you can beat me just because you changed your sword? Yi Fei shook his head slightly as he watched Yi Lang charge at him. However, Xiao Chen did not show any mercy when he attacked. He did not give Yi Lang a chance to execute a second sword strike. The 13th sword stance instantly exploded out. A 13-fold critical strike not only instantly shattered the sword in Yi Lang's hand into 13 pieces. The sword flashed. Yi Fei's strike immediately severed Yi Lang's hand that was holding the sword from his shoulder. Yi Lang was in so much pain that he rolled on the ground. The jealousy in his heart had turned into intense fear. Why are you so strong? It was like this 3 years ago. Even if I trained until I was exhausted, I still couldn't catch up to you. It's still the same 3 years later. You have become trash, but I still can't beat you. Yi Lang's face was filled with confusion. The intense pain from his severed arm made his face contort. You don't understand the world of geniuses. Are you done? If you are, you can go on your way. Yi Fei's face was cold. He held the sword that was dripping with blood and looked down at Yi Lang. Yi Lang was finally afraid. He was so afraid that he wet his pants on the spot. Before Yi Fei's sword could land, Yi Lang had already knelt down in front of Yi Fei. He used his only intact hand to slap himself and wailed, "Little brother Fei, I'm not human. I'm heartless and unscrupulous. I'm worse than a beast. But I didn't mean to betray foster father and you. I was forced by Yi Tianxiong and his son. I beg you, on account of foster father, please spare me this once." Yi Lang was extremely afraid of death. In order to live, he would not hesitate to eat *T if Yi Fei asked him to, let alone kneel down. "Shut up. You still have the cheek to mention my father." Yi Lang's words directly triggered Yi Fei's anger. He slashed his sword at Yi Lang's face, causing a long bloody gash to appear on his face. Even his bones were exposed. Even so, Yi Fei did not show any mercy. In a fit of rage, he immediately stabbed Yi Jian in the face again and roared, "Beast, have you forgotten? When you were 5 years old, you had no parents. You were so hungry that you ran to the garbage dump and fought with wild dogs for food. In the end, you were almost bitten to death by wild dogs. It was father who took pity on you and adopted you. He named you Yi Lang and even let you enjoy the same status and identity as the young master of the family Yi. Have you forgotten? When you were 10 years old and the clan found out that your Dantian was only second-grade Huang rank, it was my sister who gave you all the cultivation resources that the clan had given her, regardless of the cold poison in her body. That silly girl even saved all of her monthly allowance just to buy you a spiritual medicine that could increase your talent. Have you forgotten? 3 years ago, when I was valued by the elder of the Heavenly Xian sect and was about to be taken to the sect to cultivate, I was afraid that you would be bullied because of your weak cultivation. So, I directly gave you the entire bottle of mid-grade pills that the elder gave me. If it wasn't for us, Yi Lang, with your trash aptitude, how could you have cultivated to the 6th stage of the martial path so quickly? But how did you treat us? Before father's body even turned cold, you snatched away all his belongings. I don't blame you. When I became a cripple and was bullied by others, I also don't blame you for not helping me. Even when you wanted to destroy my Dantian and make me a cripple again, I also don't blame you. But of all things, you shouldn't have tried to take advantage of my sister. Who do you think you are? How dare you try to take advantage of my sister? You bastard, don't you think you deserve to die? Every time Yi Fei said a sentence, the long sword in his hand would stab Yi Lang's body. By the time he finished speaking, Yi Lang's arms and legs had all been cut off by Yi Fei. Yi Lang's face, in particular, had been mutilated beyond recognition by Yi Fei. It was impossible to tell that he was still a human. Such cruel and ruthless methods. Not only was Yi Lang scared out of his wits, he could only lie on the ground and scream crazily. The other family Yi disciples were also scared out of their wit. A total of 5 people were so scared that they didn't dare to move. Yellow urine flowed down their pants and flowed onto the grass. Plop! In the end, they couldn't bear the pressure anymore. Under Yi Fei's ruthless gaze, their bodies went limp and they fell to the ground. They slapped themselves with all their might and said, "Brother Fei, we were wrong. We're not human, we're worse than pigs and dogs, but we're only accomplices. Chapter 11. Reaping What One Sowed. Unforgivable. On the ground, the 5 disciples kept kowtowing and begging for mercy. Yi Fei had a cold smile on his face. He did not say that he would let them go, nor did he say that he would kill them. They could only kneel on the ground and keep kowtowing until their heads were bleeding and their faces were swollen. However, none of them dared to slack off. They all kowtowed as hard as they could. After seeing Yi Fei's ruthless methods against Yi Lang, these family Yi disciples were already afraid of Yi Fei from the bottom of their hearts. Yi Fei only sneered when he saw that all of them were bleeding and almost fainting. He asked, "Is what you said just now true? Besides Yi Wei's order, Yi Long was also involved in bullying me in the Yi family?" Yi Long was the second son of Yi Fei's uncle. His talent was the same as Yi Wei's, yellow grade 4. 3 years ago, Yi Long had always considered himself as a little brother in front of him. Yi Fei also treated him as a brother, especially once when he went out with his father to train. He accidentally obtained a precious elixir that could increase the grade of one's dantian. Unfortunately, that elixir was only effective for yellow grade 5 and below. When he found out that Yi Fei could not use it, Yi Wei immediately asked him for it. However, Yi Fei was not willing to give it to him. Instead, he gave it to Yi Long, whom he was closer to and had always treated like a brother. In the end, how did Yi Long treat him? In the 3 years that his dantian was destroyed, Yi Long did not even look at him. Even when they met, Yi Long was high and mighty. Yi Fei did not blame Yi Long. After all, Yi Long only ignored him. He did not humiliate or bully him like the others. Now, it seemed that Yi Long did not want to bully him. He just did not want to do it himself. With his status, as long as he opened his mouth, there would naturally be countless family Yi disciples trying to curry favor with him. They would use all kinds of ways to bully him. Yi Long, what a treacherous person! Originally, I only planned to deal with Yi Tianxiong and Yi Wei, but now it seems that you must be included as well. Yi Fei's face was as cold as ice. 3 years of resentment did not dissipate just because he had severely injured Yi Lang. Now that he knew the truth, Yi Fei could not wait to tear Yi Tianxiong and his sons into pieces. Get lost. I won't kill you since you've provided me with the information. Now, take this piece of trash and go back to tell Yi Long don't forget how he became the #1 genius in the family Yi. One day, I'll make them pay for everything they've done to me. Yi Fei was not a person who would kill indiscriminately. These people were only accomplices, not the mastermind. They had also allowed him to see Yi Long's true colors, so he was too lazy to continue killing. Yes, Brother Fei. We'll definitely pass on your message. The 5 members of the family Yi stood up from the ground with lingering fear. They were even more in awe of Yi Fei. When they saw Yi Fei turn to leave, they trembled as they grabbed Yi Lang, who had been turned into a human stick, and immediately turned to leave. Yi Lang, who was originally screaming on the ground, had a flash of joy in his eyes. However, his face was badly mutilated, so no one noticed. Stop! Yi Fei had returned without anyone noticing. The 5 members of the family Yi were so frightened that they fell to their knees again. Brother Fei, please don't kill us. We really know our mistakes. Did I say I was going to kill you? I just forgot one thing. I haven't done it yet. Whoosh! Yi Fei did not care whether Yi Lang was really crazy or not. He directly pierced Yi Lang's dantian with his sword. Yi Lang immediately let out a shrill and despairing cry. Ah, Yi Fei, you're too cruel. You actually destroyed my dantian. Why do you have to do this to me? It turned out that Yi Lang had been pretending to be crazy, hoping to get away with it. In the world of martial artists, even if one's limbs were chopped off, as long as one's dantian was still intact, one could still become a powerful martial artist. However, if one's dantian was destroyed, Then it was completely ruined and one could only become a cripple. You're really just pretending to be crazy. Yi Lang, I've said it before. I'll take back everything that my father and I have given you. Your cultivation was bestowed upon you by me. Now, of course, I'll take it back. After piercing Yi Lang's dantian, Yi Fei was satisfied as he sheathed his sword. He glanced coldly at the others. Now all of you can get lost. As for the trash on the ground, it's up to you whether you want to bring it back to Yi Long or find a place to throw it away. After saying this, Yi Fei turned and left, leaving behind the 5 members of the family Yi with conflicted expressions. What do we do? What does Brother Fei mean? Does he want us to bring Yi Lang back, or does he want us to kill him? Are you crazy? You want to bring back such an ungrateful person? That's right. This kind of ingrate will only be a burden. Brother Fei cares about his brother and can't bear to kill him. However, we don't have such scruples. These members of the family Yi didn't have a good impression of Yi Lang to begin with. When they saw that Yi Lang's dantian was destroyed, no one was willing to bring this burden along. They all turned and left. Only Yi Lang was left lying on the ground. He let out a roar of pain and regret. Soon, his roar turned into a cry of despair. A few fierce beasts had already followed the scent of blood and pounced on Yi Lang's body. You brought this upon yourself. Hearing the cries in the distance, Yi Fei shook his head and sighed. He also walked into the hidden cave that the treasure hunters had discovered. Through the conversations of the family Yi members, he knew that there was likely to be a precious spirit chi pool inside. When he went in to take a look, it was indeed so. The spirit chi pool was quite big, about the size of a pond. Yi Fei's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Such a large spirit chi pool was probably rare in Blackrock City even in 100 years. No wonder Yi Lang, who had been tailing them, had cruelly killed all the treasure hunters and taken it for himself. Not bad, not bad. I was just worrying about not having enough pills to raise the quality of my dantian. I didn't expect to find such a rare treasure like the spirit chi pool. I just don't know how much energy this spirit chi pool can release from the undying sword soul. Yi Fei licked his lips. After confirming that there was no danger in the surroundings, he quickly took off his clothes and immediately jumped into the spirit chi pool. He didn't even need to deliberately activate it. A shocking amount of spirit chi had already entered his body through his countless pores. The undying sword soul instantly emitted a black light. That kind of light made Yi Fei, who was using his inner vision, feel a burst of blinding light. He knew that he was about to hit the jackpot. This was the first time he had seen the undying sword soul release such a large amount of energy. Almost in an instant, the quality of his dantian had already increased from 3rd grade Huang to 4th grade Huang, then 5th grade, 6th grade. From now on, Yi Fei's talent could be considered to have completely returned. But it wasn't over yet. Yi Fei's heart fiercely skipped a beat. The undying sword soul was still releasing a large amount of black energy. The quality of his dantian was also continuously increasing. 7th grade Huang, 8th grade Huang, 9th grade Huang. In the end, when Yi Fei opened his eyes, his face didn't reveal surprise, but deep shock. 10th grade Huang. My God, I'm not dreaming, right? The undying sword soul actually increased the quality of my dantian to such an exaggerated degree. This kind of dantian quality had never appeared in the entire Blackrock City's 1,000 years of history. Now it had actually appeared in his body. Chapter 12. Unrivaled beauty. However, the energy in the chi pool was no longer enough to satisfy the undying sword spirit's appetite. If he wanted to continue increasing the quality of his dantian, Yi Fei felt that he would need a higher grade chi pool or pills. As the quality of his dantian increased, Yi Fei could clearly feel that the speed at which he refined the yuan qi of heaven and earth had become astonishingly fast. Previously, he would need 2 hours to refine the yuan qi of heaven and earth, but now, He only needed 10 breaths to refine it. When he finished refining all the yuan qi in the qi pool, Yi Fei was pleasantly surprised to find that his strength had increased greatly. This wasn't just an increase of 1 or 2 levels, but 3 levels in a row. In just one night, Yi Fei went from the 2nd level of the martial path to the 5th level of the martial path. At this time, if he were to meet a 6th level expert like Yi Lang, he would have the confidence to fight him even if he didn't use the 13th sword style. So smelly. Why is my body so sticky? After finishing his cultivation, Yi Fei suddenly smelled an unpleasant odor on his body. There was also a lot of black matter that was constantly being discharged from his skin. These were the impurities that were automatically discharged from his body after the quality of his dantian increased. The more impurities that were discharged, the better his affinity with the yuan qi of heaven and earth would be in the future. Naturally, his cultivation speed would be faster. This won't do. I have to find a place to quickly take a bath. Yi Fei walked out of the cave and rushed in the direction of the water flow. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the depths of the Blackstone Mountains, a terrifying bestial roar suddenly rang out. In a hidden wetland, a giant golden python that was over 10 meters long had its head raised high. It was currently facing off against a youth in ragged clothes who held a broken sword. This was the golden python, a famous high-level vicious beast near Blackstone City. Even the weakest golden python was in the 8th level of the martial path. If they were allowed to grow for a few years, they would directly evolve into a demonic beast or even a flood dragon. Normally, even 9th level experts wouldn't dare to provoke the golden python where it appeared. But now, under Yi Fei's 13-fold critical strike, the golden python's head was directly pierced with a bloody hole. It let out a final roar of unwillingness, and its huge body collapsed in front of Yi Fei. Ho ho ho! Panting violently, Yi Fei sat down on the ground. It seems that the 13th sword style also has a limit. With my current strength of the 5th stage of the martial path, a 13-fold critical strike can only allow me to kill a fierce beast of the 8th stage of the martial path. If I encounter a fierce beast of the 9th stage of the martial path, then I will not be able to protect myself. Not good. I have to leave this place quickly. Not only are there high-level vicious beasts in the depths of the Blackstone Mountain Range, there are also powerful demonic beasts. If I meet one, I will definitely be finished. After panting for a while, Yi Fei didn't dare to stay any longer. He quickly rushed over and dug out the golden python's beast core before turning around and running away like the wind. It's been almost a month since I entered the Blackstone Mountain Range. I don't know how worried my sister is. Now that my strength has recovered and I have also cultivated the 13th sword style to the greater success stage, it's time to leave this place. Yi Fei thought as he ran out of the Blackstone Mountain Range. Yi Fei didn't know that when he killed the golden python and left, a peerlessly beautiful woman on a towering ancient tree had seen the entire scene. To be able to comprehend a profound rank sword technique at the 5th stage of the martial path, this youth's perception is not bad. It's a pity that he doesn't have a special physique and his dantian is too ordinary. It's only a 10th grade Huang ranked dantian. Such a dantian would be considered a decent genius in a rural area like Zhao City, but in the entire world of martial path, it's nothing. The beautiful woman shook her head and no longer paid attention to Yi Fei. She was just about to put away the golden python's corpse. Suddenly, a huge shadow appeared in the sky. It was actually a 10th stage demonic beast condor. When it discovered the woman in the sky, its sharp beak unceremoniously swooped towards the woman. The beautiful woman didn't even look at it. Her slender jade-like hand casually pointed towards the sky and a stream of energy instantly shattered the condor, causing a downpour of blood. Looking at the tree, the woman's figure was nowhere to be seen. Even the golden python on the ground had disappeared with the woman as if it had never appeared. Blackstone City, South Sky Merchant Association. When Yi Fei walked in with ragged clothes, he was almost thrown out by the shopkeeper as a beggar. Go, go, go! Where did this beggar come from? Here's a few copper coins. Hurry up and leave. Don't disturb my business. The shopkeeper impatiently threw out a few copper coins, wanting to chase Yi Fei out. Yi Fei immediately smiled bitterly. His current appearance was really unflattering. Yi Fei couldn't get angry. I'm not here for money. I'm here to sell beast cores. The shopkeeper's attitude became slightly better. He lightly curled his lips and said, What beast cores? Could it be that you picked up a low-level beast core somewhere? Our merchant association doesn't have the time to buy those things. The youth in front of him looked like a powerless youth. The shopkeeper didn't think that such a youth could take out any good beast cores. He was already being very polite by not chasing him out on the spot. Yi Fei couldn't be bothered to say more. He directly took out the golden python beast core and said, This is the golden python beast core. Do you want it? If you don't, then I'll look for the next seller. What? The golden python beast core? The shopkeeper was so frightened that he almost fell to the ground. For such a high-level beast core, even if they had to kneel down and beg, they would still buy it. Seeing Yi Fei turn to leave, the shopkeeper revealed a mysterious smile. He quickly stopped Yi Fei and called out, Young master, please wait. This beast core, please sell it to our South Sky Merchant Association for 10 million. What are you bunch of brats standing there for? Can't you see that the young master is thirsty? Hurry up and serve the tea. Serve the tea. The final result was very satisfactory to Yi Fei. Just the golden python beast core alone was sold for 5,000 gold taels. In addition to the other beast cores, when Yi Fei left the Merchant Association, not only did he have 10,000 gold taels, he also took a new bolt of silk cloth. Come to think of it, that girl Shanshan hasn't made any new clothes for many years. This time I bought a bolt of high-quality cloth. It's just right to make some nice clothes for my sister. Yi Fei carried the cloth and walked briskly back to the family Yi. From afar, he saw a young servant girl of the family Yi standing at the door looking around with a nervous expression. This servant girl was called Xiao Chui. She was his sister's good friend. Because she was weak and sickly since she was young and couldn't cultivate, many people in the family didn't like Yi Shanshan. Yi Shanshan also didn't like the young ladies in the family. On the contrary, he got along well with the group of servant girls. Xiao Chui, what happened? Why are your eyes red? Yi Fei looked at Xiao Chui's eyes, which were obviously crying, and felt strange. Sob, 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 young Master Fei, you're finally back. Seeing Yi Fei return, Xiao Chui immediately started crying again. She grabbed Yi Fei's clothes and reminded him, Young Master Fei, you should hurry and run. The family said that you killed a member of the family and want to arrest you for punishment. Shanshan is currently being interrogated by the head steward. She told me to wait for you here. She said that once you came back, you should leave immediately and never come back. Chapter 13. Raging Fury. Yi Fei didn't hear what Xiao Chui said next. All he heard was that his sister was being interrogated. Yi Fei's eyes were already bloodshot. Boom! Yi Fei let go of the cloth in his hand and charged into the family Yi like a raging vicious beast. The guards at the door couldn't stop him at all. Xiao Chui's mouth was wide open. What's going on? Didn't everyone say that young Master Fei had become a cripple? Why did I feel that young Master Fei's aura was even stronger than it was 3 years ago? Yi Fei and his sister lived in the southern desolation courtyard. Usually, even the family's servants wouldn't bother to come here. But today it was full of people. The reason was naturally the disciples of the family Yi that Yi Fei had let go. They had honestly told Yi Long the news that Yi Fei wanted to pass on to him. One could imagine how shocked the family Yi was. It was already shocking that a second-stage martial artist crippled a sixth-stage martial artist like Yi Fei. What was even more shocking was that Yi Fei had actually learned the style of the 13th sword. After the shock, Yi Tianxiong immediately reacted. This was a good opportunity to get rid of Yi Fei openly. Immediately, they announced the arrest of Yi Fei on the grounds that Yi Fei had killed his own people. However, Yi Fei still didn't show up. The furious Yi Long sent his trusted chief steward to interrogate Yi Shanshan. Even if he couldn't find out Yi Fei's whereabouts, it didn't matter. The most important thing was that he had to find out how Yi Fei had learned the style of the 13th sword. At that moment, Yi Shanshan was violently tied up under a large tree by the Yi family's chief steward, Zhou Go. The loud sound of a whip whipping the air made a whooshing sound, and a thick branch was smashed to pieces on the spot. Zhou Go purposely let Yi Shanshan see the effects of the whip. Then he threatened fiercely, "Yi Shanshan, if you don't want to suffer, tell us honestly. Where is that trash Yi Fei hiding? Did he contact you?" "I don't know. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you." Yi Shanshan's face was pale. Her eyes flashed not with fear, but with stubbornness and unyielding determination. "Bitch, you're courting death." Zhou Go was furious. If it had been 3 years ago, he definitely wouldn't have dared to insult Yi Shanshan. However, things were different now. Yi Shanshan was no longer the daughter of the family head, and Yi Fei had been reduced to a complete trash. As the trusted aide of the Yi father and son, Zhou Go naturally wouldn't be polite. He viciously whipped Yi Shanshan, leaving a bloody mark on her body. "Bitch, I'll ask you one more time. Are you going to tell us or not?" Zhou Go roared cruelly. "I won't tell you. Even if I die, I won't betray Brother Fei." Yi Shanshan bit her lip in pain. Even though her lip was bleeding, she still didn't say a word. This caused Zhou Go to become enraged. He no longer held back and lashed out over a dozen whips on Yi Shanshan's body. The intense pain caused tears to roll down Yi Shanshan's face unceasingly. Her entire body was covered with terrifying bloody scars. "Bitch, tell us where that trash of a brother of yours is hiding and how he learned the style of the 13th sword. If you tell us, I'll spare your life. You can just kill me. I believe that Brother Fei will definitely avenge me," Yi Shanshan said stubbornly. Her eyes flashed with the will to die. "Bitch, this is your own death wish. I'll grant you your wish." Zhou Go saw that he couldn't get anything out of her and flew into a rage. He actually wanted to kill her. After all, she was just a bitch without parents. He, Zhou Go, had secretly killed servants like her. If there weren't 100 of them, there were at least 80. Zhou Go immediately ordered the surrounding servant girls, "You guys, get a bamboo cage and put this bitch in it. Throw her into the river and drown her." "Head chief, please don't. I beg you. Miss Shanshan really doesn't know anything. She's innocent." Seeing that Zhou Go not only hit Yi Shanshan, but also wanted to kill her, a servant girl couldn't help but cry out. A maidservant who was usually on good terms with Yi Shanshan could no longer hold it in and knelt down to beg Zhou Go for mercy. However, Zhou Go answered her with a loud whip. The whip left a large gash on the servant girl's face. "What a bitch. You want to die too, don't you? Alright, then the two of you can die together." Zhou Go waved the long whip in his hand again. He planned to whip this servant girl to death. But at this moment, a hand suddenly grabbed the leather whip from behind. With a forceful tug, the leather whip broke free from Zhou Go's grasp. "Who dares to ruin my plans?" Zhou Go was shocked and hurriedly turned his head. Woo! What greeted him was the sound of a whip whipping through the air, causing the air to whine. With such a heavy whip, Zhou Lu's hand, which had been wielding the whip just now, snapped into two with a cracking sound. The sharp pain brought Zhou Go back to his senses. His eyes widened as he endured the pain. Looking at Yi Fei, who had snatched his whip, he couldn't help but be scared out of his wits. "Yi Fei, you piece of trash. You really want to overturn the heavens. Not only did you kill your own people, you even dared to break my arm. Trash, do you know who is behind me?" "Pa." What answered Zhou Go was an even heavier whip from Yi Fei. It shattered Zhou Go's legs on the spot. He had no choice but to kneel on the ground and wail. Yi Fei then coldly spat and said, "Motherf asterisk cur, I don't care who is behind you. If you have any problems, just come at me. How dare you interrogate my sister when I'm not around? I'll whip you to death right now." Woo woo woo. As he spoke, the whip in Yi Fei's hand left a trail of afterimages as it continuously lashed Zhou Gou's body. Yi Fei was truly enraged this time. Of course, he was as vicious as he could be. No matter how Zhou Gou screamed or begged for mercy, he didn't stop. Just like that, Zhou Gou was whipped to death. Even when he died, his eyes were still wide open. He couldn't believe that he would one day be whipped to death by a piece of trash. What's more, he was whipped to death by a piece of trash. Many of the servants who were watching the commotion were scared out of their wits. They screamed wildly and fled in all directions. They even shouted with all their might, "Murder! Yi Fei, that piece of trash, killed someone! Someone come quickly!" Yi Fei didn't bother with the fleeing servants. When he saw Zhou Gou being whipped to death, the ferocity on Yi Fei's face dissipated slightly. However, when Yi Fei saw Yi Shanshan, who was covered in bruises, the anger in his chest erupted like a volcano. His internal organs were burning. "Sister, what happened to you? It's all my fault. If I knew this would happen, I would have rushed over immediately. It's all my fault. I'm a useless brother." Yi Fei quickly put Yi Shanshan down from the tree. First, he quickly fed her a healing elixir. Then, he couldn't help but slap himself hard across the face. He slapped himself so hard that blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He was filled with regret. He had originally thought that this was purely a grudge between him and the Yi father and son. No matter how much they hated him, they wouldn't implicate Yi Shanshan, who couldn't cultivate. That was why he had asked the other family Yi disciples to deliver a message to Yi Long. It was equivalent to issuing a challenge. Unfortunately, he had underestimated the shamelessness of the Yi father and son trio. It didn't matter how they treated him. Now they were ruthless enough to kill Yi Shanshan, who didn't have any strength. This had deeply touched Yi Fei's reverse scale. "Sister, how are you? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Yi Fei's eyes were bloodshot as he watched Yi Shanshan consume the elixir. "Brother, I'm fine. Let's go. This is no longer our home. I don't want to stay here. Brother, can you take me with you? Let's leave Blackrock City now." Yi Shanshan was crying, but she looked at Yi Fei anxiously. She knew Yi Fei too well. Just by looking at Yi Fei's bloodshot eyes, she knew what Yi Fei wanted to do. "No, I'm not leaving. They've gone too far. It doesn't matter how they bully me. But to interrogate someone who doesn't even know martial arts, this is absolutely intolerable. If the head chief bullies you, I'll kill him. If the family Yi bullies you, I'll destroy the family Yi to avenge you." Yi Fei's eyes were bloodshot as he roared. Seeing his sister covered in wounds with his own eyes, Yi Fei was so angry that he almost lost his mind. "Destroy my family, Yi? Trash, you sure talk big. Just based on this, my family Yi will definitely not tolerate you." Chapter 14. A man should be arrogant. Bang. The door to the courtyard was kicked open once again. Following that, the white-haired first elder, who was dressed in brocade robes, walked in with a face full of anger. He had heard reports from his subordinates that Yi Fei had barged into the family Yi and beaten one of the family's stewards to death. At first, the first elder didn't believe that Yi Fei had the ability to do so. But when he saw the steward, Zhou Gou, who had been beaten to a pulp and died of fear, even the first elder couldn't help but gasp. What a ruthless method! The steward of the family Yi, who was in the third stage of the martial path, was beaten to death without any resistance. The first elder looked at Yi Fei with a gloomy expression. He pointed at the corpse on the ground and asked Yi Fei, "Trash, did you kill Zhou Gou and Yi Lang?" "That's right, I killed them both. They deserved to die, so I killed them. The family Yi deserved to die, so I will also destroy the family Yi to seek justice for me and my sister. Yi Fei asked Xiao Chui and another servant girl to support Yi Shanshan. He himself stood upright and stared at the first elder like a sharp sword. Seeing Yi Fei's angry and bloodshot eyes, the first elder didn't know why, but he felt a sense of fear. He continued to ask, Yi Fei, where were you? Did you really learn the 13th sword style? That's right, I also learned the 13th sword style. Yi Fei nodded. There was nothing to hide. Seeing the first elder's fearful expression, Yi Fei's lips curled into a mocking smile. He said sarcastically, What, old dog, are you afraid? If you are, then scram to the side. My target is Yi Tianxiong and his son. If you try to stop me, I will kill you. If the family Yi tries to stop me, I will destroy the entire family Yi. Yi Fei, how dare you? The great elder was truly afraid. The fact that Yi Fei was able to cultivate the 13 sword styles already proved that not only had Yi Fei's dantian recovered, even his talent had returned. He was no longer the trash from before, so how could the great elder not be afraid? However, with so many people watching, the first elder couldn't bring himself to lose face and show weakness to Yi Fei. He immediately warned him, Yi Fei, let this old man give you a word of advice. As a person, you shouldn't be too arrogant. So what if you've recovered your talent? The current you is no match for young Master Yi Wei and young Master Yi Long. If you know what's good for you, immediately give up resisting and follow this old man to the patriarch. Lower your head and admit your mistake. Admit your fault, old man. You're already so old, but your eyes have grown on a dog's body. It was Yi Tianxiong and his son who forced my sister and I into a corner. They were the ones in the wrong, but you want me to admit my mistake to them. A person like you who can't tell right from wrong has the face to be the great elder. Yi Fei was already angry to the point of losing his mind. The great elder's words were definitely adding fuel to the fire. Yi Fei rudely interrupted him, the long sword in his hand flashing with a cold light. Old dog, I'll count to 3. So what if I'm arrogant? A man should be arrogant. If you're not convinced, come bite me if you have the guts. Yi Fei, you're too arrogant. This old man is speaking to you with good intentions, but you dare to insult me, the great elder. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you won't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. The great elder was enraged. As an elder whose authority was second only to the patriarch, when had he ever been insulted by a junior in front of so many people? Seeing that the conversation was not going well, the great elder decided to use absolute force to subdue this arrogant junior in front of him. Superior grade yellow rank martial art, Heavenly Eagle Claw. Yi Fei, today this old man will teach you how to respect us elders. Trash. Do you think a dog like you is worthy of my respect? Since you dare to attack me, leave your dog claw behind. 13th sword style. Yi Fei's expression was cold as he attacked with 13 sword lights, condensing them into a terrifying sword attack. This sword attack could even easily pierce through an 8th stage martial path golden python. The great elder's strength had only just entered the 8th stage martial path. Just by feeling the sword light, the great elder cried out in shock. When he saw that Yi Fei was actually able to instantly deal a 13-fold critical strike, the great elder's reaction was the same as Yi Lang's. He almost wet his pants on the spot. It's actually the 13th sword style at the large success stage. How is this possible? It hasn't even been a month, and you've already mastered this sword technique. Furthermore, you've even cultivated it to the large success stage? The great elder's face was filled with fear. Yi Fei's sword light contained a destructive aura that terrified him. Even with the great elder's strength, he was unable to withstand Yi Fei's 13-fold critical strike. At this critical moment, it also showed that the great elder's age was not in vain. Realizing that something was wrong, the great elder actually forcefully withdrew his heavenly eagle claw. He did not even have the courage to fight Yi Fei. He immediately retreated, losing without a fight. Useless. Didn't you want to teach me a lesson? Come on then. Yi Fei withdrew his sword, his face filled with disdain. His words were like a resounding slap to the great elder's face, causing it to burn. The great elder was actually forced to retreat by a junior's sword. If this were to spread out, it would be embarrassing. Yi Fei, Yi Ti and I listened to this old man's advice. We're all family. What's the point of fighting and killing each other like this? Another old voice rang out. No one knew when, but a stooped old man with a white beard had appeared in the courtyard. It was actually the great-grandfather of the martial pavilion, who had never died. When the great elder saw that the person who had arrived was the most mysterious great elder of the family Yi Chao, he seemed to have found his savior. Great elder, you've come at the right time. This Yi Fei has no respect for his elders and killed his fellow clansmen. I was just about to take him down and hand him over to the family Yi to be dealt with. Great-grandfather, are you going to stop me too? Yi Fei also looked at the old man in front of him with a grave expression. Even though Yi Chao looked extremely old, for some reason, this person gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Scram! As an elder of the family Yi, how dare you force a junior like this? Aren't you ashamed? Yi Chao fiercely scolded the great elder. He turned his head and looked at Yi Fei with a kind smile. Yi Fei, you're very good. It seems that not only has your dantian recovered, but your talent has also recovered. Don't fuss about the past. You just need to know that from now on, as long as I'm around, no one will bully you and your sister. Will my actions appease your anger? If it were in the past, Yi Chao wouldn't have had the time to interfere in such matters. With his nearly 200 years of life, there was nothing he couldn't see through. However, it was different this time. Yi Fei had actually comprehended a mystic tier sword technique that no one in the family Yi had managed to comprehend in 100 years. In less than a month, he had already achieved phenomenal success. Such talent shocked Yi Chao, which was why he made an exception and intervened to protect Yi Fei. Only then did Yi Fei realize that this old man had appeared because he had taken a fancy to the mystic tier sword technique he had learned. After all, it was difficult to comprehend a sword technique alone. However, with a teacher, it would be much easier to impart it to others than to comprehend it alone. Yi Fei sneered and shook his head. You want me to calm down? Sure, but only if you let me kill Yi Tianxiong and his sons to seek justice. No, at least not now. Yi Tianxiong is one thing, but Yi Wei and Yi Long are the same as you. They are the hope of the family Yi. Besides, Yi Fei, if you don't think for yourself, don't you think for your sister? This girl has been suffering from a cold poison since she was young. Only the golden sun grass at the back of the family Yez mountain can suppress it. If I remember correctly, her cold poison is about to flare up. Brother, I'm fine. It's just golden sun grass. I don't believe that only Blackrock City has it. Brother, let's leave now. I don't want to stay here any longer. Yi Shanshan said stubbornly. The interrogation just now had completely hurt her. She was completely disappointed in this cold and indifferent family. Okay, sister. Wherever you go, I'll go with you. Of course, Yi Fei wouldn't reject his sister's request. He supported Yi Shanshan and prepared to leave the family Yi. Since he had 10,000 gold on him, he could buy the golden sun grass through the Chamber of Commerce. However, when Yi Fei's hand touched Yi Shanshan's body, he couldn't help but shiver even with his 5th stage of the martial path cultivation. Xiao Chui and the other maids screamed. They had been supporting Yi Shanshan for a while, but their hands were already frozen. Chapter 15. Strange cold poison. Yi Fei immediately panicked. He hugged Yi Shanshan tightly and asked loudly, Sister, why is your cold poison acting up earlier than expected? Did you not eat the golden sun grass that the family provides every month? What golden sun grass? Yi Fei, are you crazy? 3 months ago, the head of the family ordered that golden sun grass would no longer be planted. The first elder was shocked when he saw Yi Shanshan's cold poison acting up. The cold poison in Yi Shanshan's body was well known in the family Yi. Ever since she was young, the family Yi had hired many famous doctors. They even spent a lot of money to hire martial masters, but none of them could diagnose the cold poison in Yi Shanshan's body. For so many years, Yi Shanshan could only use golden sun grass to temporarily relieve her pain whenever the cold poison acted up. But 3 months ago, Yi Fei didn't know that the family Yi had stopped planting golden sun grass. They were obviously trying to take his sister's life. Yi Tianxiong, Yi Wei, Yi Long, you three have gone too far. If anything happens to my sister, I will make sure you die with her. Boom! A shocking murderous intent emerged from Yi Fei's body. He didn't expect that Yi Shanshan would suffer so much for him when he was focused on cultivation. His heart ached so much that Yi Fei shed tears. Brother, don't cry. I'm fine. Even if the family cut off my supply of golden sungrass, we still have Uncle Jian. 3 days ago, Uncle Jian helped me find golden sungrass. I just have to bear with it. Yi Shanshan wanted to smile at Yi Fei, but the cold poison in her body tortured her until her face turned ashen and her body trembled slightly. Yi Fei quickly hugged her tightly. Ignoring the numbness of his body, he turned to the first elder and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Start a fire immediately." Yes, start a fire. Why are you still in a daze? Hurry up and get someone to bring the firewood over. Yi Chao also scolded the first elder. The first elder's expression turned ugly. However, things were different now. Not only had Yi Fei's dantian recovered, even his talent seemed to have recovered. Most importantly, Yi Fei had also comprehended a mystic-ranked sword art and gained the attention of Yi Chao. He was no longer someone a mere first elder like him could afford to offend. Despite the anger in his heart, the first elder still hurriedly ordered the servants to prepare firewood. There's no need for firewood, I've already brought the golden sungrass. Suddenly, there were hurried footsteps outside the door. Yi Jian was covered in blood, but he was holding a stalk of golden sun grass tightly in his hand. He staggered in from outside and almost fell down. Uncle Jian, what's wrong? Yi Fei noticed that Yi Jian, who had just returned, seemed to be seriously injured. Yi Jian waved his hand nonchalantly. It's nothing. When I was picking the golden sun grass, I was accidentally clawed by a vicious beast. I won't die. Quick, feed this golden sun grass to your sister. Yi Fei didn't say anything. He just nodded vigorously and quickly fed the golden sun grass to Yi Shanshan. He thought that this would suppress the cold poison in his body. However, after consuming the golden sun grass, not only did Yi Shanshan's condition not improve, even the surrounding air seemed to be affected. Snowflakes started to float in the air. How can this be? Why is the golden sun grass ineffective? Yi Fei couldn't understand. Yi Jian was also stunned. In order to obtain this stalk of golden sun grass, he had almost fought a demon beast to the death. In the end, the golden sun grass was ineffective against the cold poison in Yi Shanshan's body. Grand Elder Yi Chao, who was standing to the side, frowned and suddenly reached out to grab Yi Shanshan's hand. Let this old man take a look. Scram! Yi Fei didn't trust this old man. When he saw him approaching, he instinctively wanted to draw his sword. However, he quickly realized that he couldn't move at all. Everyone present felt the same as Yi Fei. This old man usually looked extremely old, but when he revealed his strength, Yi Fei was shocked to discover that Yi Chao, this grand elder, was actually a martial master expert. In the entire Blackrock City, there was only one such expert in the city lord's mansion. The family Yi actually had one hidden. No wonder this person has lived for almost 200 years and hasn't died yet. Yi Fei thought to himself in shock. He knew that if such an expert wanted to kill him, he wouldn't even have the chance to resist. Yi Chao didn't do that, which meant that this Grand Elder really didn't have any ill intentions. Yi Fei naturally wouldn't continue to stop him. Instead, he stared at the Grand Elder anxiously as he took his sister's pulse. "Great-grandfather, how is my sister's condition? As long as you can neutralize her cold poison, I am willing to do anything. Even if you want my life on the spot, Yi Fei wouldn't even frown," Yi Fei said resolutely. After his father's death, his sister was his only family in this world. He really hated that he couldn't bear the pain of this cold poison in his sister's place. After taking her pulse, Yi Chao's expression became extremely solemn. He sighed and said, "Yi Fei, you have to be mentally prepared. The cold poison in Shanshan's body has been accumulating for more than 10 years. Now, it has reached the point where the cold poison is attacking her heart. The golden sun grass alone won't be able to suppress it. I'm afraid. Afraid my ass. My sister is my only family. She is mine. No one can hurt her. If her family Yi hurts her, I will destroy her family Yi. If the heavens hurt her, I will punish the heavens. Grand Elder, I beg of you. As long as there is a way to cure my sister, I am willing to try anything." After Yi Fei shouted angrily, he pushed down the golden mountain and jade pillar and knelt down in front of Yi Chao. "Grand Elder, please think of a way." "Brother!" Yi Shanshan looked at Yi Fei weakly and sorrowfully. In her memory, Yi Fei had only knelt once, and that was in front of her foster father's grave. Now Yi Fei actually knelt down in front of the most hated family Yi because of her. Yi Shanshan felt her heart ache. "Brother, I don't want you to do this. I would rather die than let you suffer like this. It's all my fault. I've implicated you and foster father." Yi Shanshan started to cry as she spoke. As she cried, the snowflakes that were originally only covering family Yi became even larger. Almost half of Blackrock City was covered in snowflake. In the market, a beautiful woman with a veil over her face raised her head instinctively and looked in the direction of the family Yi. Her eyes were filled with shock. 9 heavens cold snow. Could this be? Before she could finish her sentence, the beautiful woman suddenly disappeared from the market as if she had never appeared. No one noticed this scene. Neither did the family Yi. Everyone looked at Yi Fei in shock. Ever since he was young, even when he was crippled, Yi Fei had never lowered his head to anyone. Never. Now, Yi Fei had actually lowered his head and knelt down for the first time for the sake of a younger sister who had no blood relation to family Yi. But for some reason, when they saw Yi Fei in this state, no one present could make the same disdainful and mocking remarks as they had in the past. Yi Chao had lived for almost 200 years, but he had never seen a youth like Yi Fei. He fell silent. He really didn't know how to respond to Yi Fei. Great Elder's expression changed a few times. He looked at Yi Fei and then looked at Yi Chao, who was hiding his true colors. He finally decided on something and said with difficulty, "Perhaps there is a way to save your sister. What is it? Tell me, tell me, tell me now." Yi Fei jumped up in excitement. His large hand was already gripping Great Elder's shoulder. He looked at his sister's painful expression as she endured the cold poison. Yi Fei was on the verge of going crazy. Faintly, a formless sword aura emanated from his mind. It was as if it wanted to destroy the world. Great Elder's legs turned to jelly when he sensed the sword aura. However, this made him even more determined to mend his relationship with Yi Fei. Yi Fei had terrifying talent and the hidden martial master Yi Chao behind him. This was not an existence that Great Elder could afford to offend. Chapter 16. Wu Province's Examination. What did you say? Tianyun Wufu's examination is happening today. How come we didn't know about it? Yi Jian and Yi Chao were both shocked. If it wasn't for the fact that Grand Elder Yi Tianai didn't mention it, they wouldn't have known about it. The head of the family has ordered us to keep the Wu Province's examination a secret from you. This is your punishment for disobeying the head of the family. the Grand Elder said to Yi Jian. As for why the Grand Elder didn't know, it was because Yi Chao had retired a long time ago and didn't care about the family's affairs. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi Fei had comprehended the 13th sword style, Yi Chao wouldn't have interfered with the family Ye's affairs. Yi Fei was also shocked. Of course he knew about Tianyun Wufu. It was said that Wu province was a place that was even more powerful than the sections. If the Tianxian sect could dominate the few areas around Blackrock City, then Tianyun Wufu was a giant in the entire Zhao. At the same time, Tianyun Wufu's recruitment rules were much stricter than the Tianxian sects. For example, in Blackrock City, the Tianxian sect would send people to recruit disciples every 3 years, but Tianyun Wufu might only come once every 10 or 20 years. Even so, many of the talented youths of Blackrock City were still looking forward to it. Not for anything else, but just the fact that even the most powerful sect couldn't compare to the worst martial house was enough to make all those who pursued the martial path go crazy. 3 years ago, I asked the elder of the Tianxian sect to check on my sister's cold poison. He said that even the Tianxian sect couldn't do anything about it. Can Tianyun Wufu really cure her cold poison? Yi Fei still had some doubts. Yi Jian said loudly, "Of course it's possible. Even the worst Wu province is 10 times more powerful than the strongest sect. In a place like Wu province, there are even elixirs that can heal the Dantian." Yi Fei, why do you think Yi Tianxiong didn't want us to know about Tianyun Wufu? He was afraid that you would get this elixir and completely recover, even if the possibility is very small. The first elder hesitated for a moment, but when he thought about the fact that he had already revealed the news about the Sky Fortune Martial House, it could be considered a form of betrayal towards Yi Tianxiong. Thus, he decided not to hide it any longer and revealed more shocking news. Today, all the elders and genius disciples of the Yi clan rushed to the mayor's mansion. The patriarch had me stay behind to prevent any accident. Once he discovered that you had returned, the patriarch ordered me to do everything in my power to prevent you from participating in the Sky Fortune Martial House's assessment. Yi Tianxiong, you're despicable. Yi Fei finally understood. Tianyun Wufu's recruitment was a big event that had never happened in Blackrock City in 20 years. As the Grand Elder of the family, it was strange that Yi Tianai didn't attend. It wasn't that he didn't want to attend, but that he had received orders from Yi Tianxiong to stay here and stop him. Luckily, he had the immortal sword spirit. Luckily, his strength had been completely restored. Now, he even had the 13th sword style that could allow him to challenge those of a higher level. Yi Fei quickly made a decision. I must attend this Tianyun Wufu's recruitment, and I must pass. I'll take my sister there now. Tianyun Wufu was a martial arts holy land that was 10 times more powerful than the heavenly Xian sect. There were countless experts there, and if they could even repair a damaged Dantian, it was very likely that they had a way to remove the frost poison in Yi Shanshan's body. Yi Fei, you can only bring Yi Jian and Yi Tianai with you for the examination. Your younger sister's condition doesn't look too good, and she can't be moved at all. Don't worry, I'll stay here and use my Zhenqi to protect the lass's heart meridian. Yi Chao said with a serious expression. Yi Shanshan's heart was already affected by the frost poison. If she moved recklessly, the frost would only spread faster. Looking at his sister's body that was almost covered in frost, Yi Fei's heart twitched violently. He knew that Yi Chao was telling the truth. Yi Shanshan couldn't move recklessly now. Then I'll leave it to you, Grand Elder. Yi Fei clenched his teeth. He understood that his sister's current condition was not suitable for her to move. He could only bow deeply to Yi Chao, then madly rushed out of the family Yi and rushed to the city lord's mansion. Today was the day that Tianyun Wufu came to Blackrock City to recruit again after 20 years. The examiners from Wu province hadn't arrived yet, but the entire city lord's mansion was already bustling like a market. All the clans in Blackrock City that received the news came, and they all brought their strongest geniuses. Because of this assessment, some of the clan's geniuses directly rejected the invitation of the strongest sect near Blackrock City, the Heavenly Xian sect, in hopes that they could pass Tianyun Wufu's assessment and soar into the sky. However, there were many young geniuses in Blackrock City, and the most dazzling one was still Yilong. With a 5th-grade Huang-ranked Dantian and the strength of a 9th-grade martial path, Yilong was definitely the #1 genius of Blackrock City. He was also the biggest competitor of everyone present. Seeing Yilong's appearance, the geniuses of the other clans all revealed expressions of envy, jealousy, and nervousness. Seeing Yilong's appearance, the city lord of Blackrock City had no choice but to lower his attitude. He walked up with a smile and greeted Yi Tianxiong. "Ha, family Yi Lord, your family Yi is becoming more and more prosperous. 3 years ago there was Yi Fei and now there's Yilong. Both of you are the top geniuses of Blackrock City. This time, Tianyun Wufu's assessment, Yilong has a high chance of passing. You flatter me, City Lord, you flatter me. I, Yi Tianxiong, don't have any other abilities, but I have 2 genius sons." Yi Tianxiong's face was full of pride. With the continuous emergence of geniuses in the family Yi, even the city lord had to curry favor with the family Yi. Yi Tianxiong was very satisfied. He believed that the family Yi would become even more prosperous in the hands of the 3 of them. Yilong, who was standing to the side, heard the city lord compare him to Yi Fei. Yilong's face darkened as he coldly snorted, "Humph, he's just a piece of trash. What qualifications does he have to compare himself to me, the #1 genius of the family Yi?" These words didn't give any face to the city lord of Blackrock City. Yilong even turned his face to the side. He didn't even bother to say a word to the city lord. He was incomparably arrogant, but the city lord didn't dare to say anything. In the past few years, the family Yi had become more and more prosperous with geniuses appearing in large numbers. On the other hand, the city lord's mansion had continued to decline. Facing these families, the city lord no longer had the confidence to be strong. More importantly, Yilong was the strongest genius in Blackrock City. He was also the one with the most hope of passing Tianyun Wufu's exam. Once Yilong became Tianyun Wufu's student, his status would be something that even the city lord of Blackrock City would have to look up to. The city lord could only embarrassedly pretend that he didn't hear anything. After finding a random excuse, the city lord of Blackrock City turned around and left in disappointment. It was also at this moment that the crowd gathered at the edge of the martial arts practice field suddenly exclaimed, "Hey, isn't that Yi Fei? I heard that he was attacked by a demon 3 years ago and his Dantian was destroyed. He's already a cripple. Why is he still participating in the exam? TCH, that's old news. I heard that this piece of trash got lucky again and found a spiritual medicine that restored his Dantian. Unfortunately, it's the trashiest yellow grade 1 Dantian. What? He was once the strongest genius in Blackrock City, but now he's become a piece of trash. He still has the nerve to come here and participate in the exam?" Seeing Yi Fei running into the martial arts practice field while panting, many of the people present were shocked. Then, there was a flurry of discussion. There were also many people who maliciously mocked him. It couldn't be helped. 3 years ago, Yi Fei's talent was too strong. He suppressed all the youths in Blackrock City until they couldn't breathe. Now that they saw Yi Fei reduced to a piece of trash, of course they would mock him. The family Yi people were even more shocked, especially when they saw that Yi Fei came together with First Elder Yi Tianai. Yi Tianxiong's smiling face suddenly turned gloomy. There was even a hint of hostility. "Yi Tianai, what did I tell you to do? I told you to take down this piece of trash who killed his own clan. Not only did you not do it, you even brought him here?" Family head, he. The first elder was about to cry. He couldn't afford to offend Yi Fei now. As the family head, he didn't have the guts to offend Yi Tianxiong either. The old man, who was used to being a fence-sitter, was now in a dilemma. He couldn't say a complete sentence for a long time. Yi Fei, you disappoint me. You're a piece of trash, so you should have the awareness of being a piece of trash. Hurry up and go back. Since we're brothers, I can plead with my father to punish you again. Yi Long's expression was arrogant and righteous. He didn't think that this was against Yi Fei. He did this for the sake of the family head. After all, letting a piece of trash go up would be a disgrace. It might even implicate him and the entire family Yi. It would leave a bad impression in the eyes of Tianyun Wufu's exam elders. Chapter 17. The assessment begins. Yi Long, what did you say? You want to punish me again? Who do you think you are? I came here to participate in the examination. What does that have to do with you? Yi Fei was very angry. Yi Shanshan's cold poison had already left him in a terrible fix. Now Yi Long, who used to be his best brother, was actually insulting him. How could Yi Fei tolerate this? Yi Fei didn't intend to say anything more to Yi Long. He strode to the center of the martial arts field, where the examination of Wu province was held. Stop right there. Yi Long was furious. In the past, with Yi Long's pride, he would not even bother to say a word to this piece of trash in front of him. But now was not the time. Yi Long would never allow Yi Fei to go up and embarrass himself. If he did, he might leave a bad impression on Tianyun Wufu's assessment elder. It might even affect Yi Long's future. Trash, I'll give you one last chance. Go back to the family Yi immediately. You should know that it's okay if you embarrass yourself, but don't drag our entire family Yi down with you. Yi Long stopped Yi Fei again, looking as if he was thinking for the sake of the family. Yi Fei's footsteps paused. Yi Long, have you forgotten who was the one who followed me like a dog 3 years ago, trying to please me and flatter me just to get a word of advice from me? And who was the one who knelt on the ground crying and begging me to let him have the spiritual herb that could increase his talent? If you say I'm trash, then what about you who once knelt in front of me? Boom. All of the martial artists present looked at Yi Long strangely. Who would have thought that the seemingly limitless number 1 genius of Blackrock City would actually do such a thing? He didn't hesitate to kneel in front of Yi Fei and beg for a spirit herb? This was also Yi Long's biggest stain. In the past 3 years, in order to cover up this stain, although Yi Long didn't make a move against Yi Fei, he secretly ordered the Yi family's disciples to bully Yi Fei, hoping that Yi Fei couldn't take it anymore and would directly commit suicide. That way, no one would know of his scandal. Yi Long had never expected that Yi Fei would reveal this matter in front of everyone. He was so angry that his entire face was distorted. Nonsense. Trash, have you lost your mind? How can I, Yi Long, kneel down to trash like you? If you dare to insult me again, even if we are from the same clan, I will kill you. Yi Long was so angry that his face was distorted, but he couldn't attack Yi Fei. If he attacked now, it would be equivalent to proving that Yi Fei was telling the truth. The best way was to deny it. Yi Long had his concerns, but Yi Tianxiong didn't. Yi Fei dared to scold his most important son. Yi Tianxiong's cold face revealed an undisguised murderous intent. He turned to the family Yi elders beside him and shouted, "Elders, listen to my order. Yi Fei not only harmed our clan members, but also dared to speak nonsense and insult my son. He has completely lost his mind. Lock him up in the ancestral hall. I will deal with him later." Yes. The family Yi elders present heard the order and immediately walked towards Yi Fei without hesitation. On one side was the genius Yi Long, and on the other was the former young master, who had become a trash and was still spouting nonsense. They naturally knew which side to stand on. If it had been a day ago, the first elder would have done the same thing as these clan members. He would have chosen Yi Tianxiong's side without hesitation. However, ever since he felt Yi Fei's rage, his destructive aura, and the support of the mysterious Grand Elder Yi Chao, the First Elder was in a dilemma. He didn't know which side to side with. The First Elder's dilemma didn't last long. A sudden gust of wind blew in the martial arts arena. In the sky, a man and a woman stood on a huge, strange bird and flew down. That strange bird was a martial master-level demonic beast. Now that it had been reduced to a mount, the identity of the person who had come was obvious. Yi Fei's lips curled into a smile. He had seen the strange bird in the sky in advance, which was why he had fallen out with Yi Tianxiong and his son. He believed that in front of Tianyun Wufu's examiners and this strange bird, no one would dare to make a move. Yi Tianxiong and his son wouldn't either. Using a beast as a mount. Tianyun Wufu is really strong. 3 years ago, when the Tianxian sect's elder came to recruit disciples, he only rode a tiger of the first stage of the martial path. Isn't that obvious? In front of Wu Province, no matter how strong a sect is, it's still trash. If anyone can be selected by Wu Province this time, then they'll have a real meteoric rise. The people from the other clans were originally watching the commotion at Yi Fei's side, but when they saw the strange bird descend, they immediately withdrew their gazes. The patriarchs of the various clans ran even faster than the last. They all followed the Blackrock City's mayor and ran over to the Sky Fortune Martial House's examinees to talk to them. Although the 2 examiners were surprisingly young, especially the beautiful woman in white, who was only in her early 20s. However, the patriarchs and elders of the various families automatically ignored all of this. They scrambled to say all kinds of flattering words. Yi Tianxiong and the elders of the Yi family, who had left Yi Fei behind, were naturally no exception. The woman in white waved her hand and said, "Save the pleasantries. You can't afford to waste our time. Is everyone participating in the examination here? Then let's go straight to Wu Province's examination." After the white-clothed woman finished speaking, she walked to the side by herself. The one who spoke in her place was the black-clothed man with a gloomy face. His expression was also very impatient as he looked at the various geniuses below the stage, his gaze faintly revealing disdain. Tianyun Wufu didn't expect any extraordinary geniuses to appear in a remote place like Blackrock City. The reason they came here for the examination was just a routine visit. Therefore, the man in black's words were exceptionally cold. "I don't care if you're all here or not. The examination begins now. We Tianyun Wufu are not like those random sects that take in any trash. We Wu Province only want geniuses, not trash. Therefore, to pass the examination of Wu Province, you must pass 3 tests. The first test is to assess your comprehension. Later, we will take out a Xian-level technique book for you to read. Whoever can comprehend the most in half an hour will pass. The second test is to assess your talent. As the name suggests, it is to see how high the quality of your dantian is. This way, those who are lacking in comprehension but have amazing talent will have a chance to join Wu Province. The third test is to assess your combat skills. I said, we are Wu Province, not those trash sects that take in anyone. We only want the strongest geniuses. As long as you are strong enough, you will still get points." At this point, the man in black even glanced at Yilong. Yilong was so excited that he almost peed himself. Amazing comprehension, super talent, and invincible strength. Every word that this senior brother said is hinting at me. Yilong Yi Tianxiong's old face was smiling like a chrysanthemum flower. He encouraged his son, "Yilong, you must work hard and strive to be more successful than your brother. As long as you enter Tianyun Wufu, not only will the family Yi be mine and my son's, but Blackrock City will also be ours in the future." Yi Tianxiong's ambition was really big. He was already imagining the glory of becoming the new mayor of Blackrock City. Yilong's face was full of arrogance. He looked in Yi Fei's direction with disdain and said, Dad, just you wait and see. I am different from some trash. A genius like me was born to join Tianyun Wufu. Good, you have ambition, as expected of my son, Yi Tianxiong. But this trash actually dares to participate in the test. He really doesn't know what's good for him. It seems like I was too soft-hearted 3 years ago. Yi Tianxiong's eyes turned cold as he watched Yi Fei walk up with the crowd to register for the test. Yi Long looked at Yi Fei's back with disdain again, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. A piece of trash. 3 years ago, I might have been afraid of him. Now, a piece of trash like him probably won't even pass the first test. He is simply a disgrace to our family, Yi. Even if that's the case, we still have to let this kid rise again. Find a chance later and kill him for me. As long as he's dead, no one in the Yi clan will dare to oppose us. Yi Tianxiong instructed with a cold face. Chapter 18. Amazing comprehension on the stage. At this moment, a jade tablet had been erected. It was engraved with words. The black-clothed man pointed at the jade tablet and said, "Those who are taking the test, take a step forward and try to comprehend the cultivation method on it. You only have 2 hours. At that time, whoever comprehends the most will be the winner. Do you all understand?" Understood. Yi Fei and the hundreds of people taking the test shouted in unison. They were secretly surprised by Tianyun Wufu's generosity. The first round of the test was to directly comprehend a black-level cultivation method. And this kind of cultivation method was only available to the core disciples of Tianxian sect, the most powerful sect around Blackstone City, not to mention Blackstone City. But now, the Sky Fortune Marshall House didn't even blink an eye and took out one. Moreover, it was only for the examination. It was clear that the rumors were not false. The difference between a Marshall House and a sect was simply like the difference between heaven and earth. This made Yi Fei even more confident. With the strength of Wu Province, perhaps there really was a way to expel the cold poison in Yi Shanshan's body. For my sister, no matter what, I have to pass Tianyun Wufu's test. Yi Fei secretly encouraged himself. Then, he sat cross-legged at the outermost corner of the jade tablet and stared at the words on it seriously. The other youths were basically the same as Yi Fei. No one dared to speak. They each found a spot and stared nervously at the jade tablet, waiting for the man in black to announce the start of the test. The elders from the various clans were especially nervous. After all, this was related to the future of their clans. The fact that the Sky Fortune Marshall House had taken out a profound level cultivation method as a test shocked everyone present. Who didn't want their clan's geniuses to pass the test? Family Yi Master, congratulations! Yi Long is the #1 genius of Blackstone City. With his comprehension, he will definitely pass. There were already people who took advantage of the situation and started to flatter Yi Tianxiong. Of course, there were also people who were not on good terms with the family Yi. They were jealous and openly mocked them. That's right. Yi Long is not the only one in the family Yi. It seems that the former genius, Yi Fei, has also recovered his strength. If these two geniuses pass the examination at the same time, it will be the family Ye's great fortune. This person emphasized the word lucky. It was obvious that he was speaking the opposite of what he was saying. Who couldn't tell? Yi Tianxiong's smiling face suddenly turned gloomy. The elders of the family Yi, with the exception of the first elder, were all enraged. Nonsense. We admit that the Yi Fei from 3 years ago was indeed shockingly talented. Unfortunately, that was 3 years ago. The Yi Fei now is just a complete piece of trash. Someone like him wants to pass the test? This is simply the biggest joke in the world. I reckon he won't even make it past the first round. Yi Fei, you piece of trash. How long are you going to continue to embarrass yourself up there? Hurry up and get down here. The elders were furious. They even subconsciously vented their anger on Yi Fei. If this piece of trash had not insisted on going up there to act like a hero, they would not have been caught in the crossfire. Yi Fei was not moved by these rumors. He was not even angry. After 3 years of training, he had already seen through the fickleness of the world. They were just a bunch of dogs barking. There was no need to pay attention to them. Now Yi Fei only had one thought in his mind, and that was to pass the test. Then, with the help of Tianyun Wufu's power, he could completely cure Yi Shanshan of the cold poison in his body. Sister, wait for me. I will definitely pass the test. Yi Fei's eyes were resolute. When the man in black announced the start of the test, his entire spirit was already completely immersed in comprehending the words on the jade tablet. Ah, why is it so difficult? I can't take it anymore. I'm going crazy. This cultivation technique is too terrifying. Unexpectedly, just as the comprehension began, a few youths who were taking the test either vomited blood or hugged their heads. Their faces were full of pain as they stopped comprehending. Black-level cultivation techniques were difficult to cultivate. They had high requirements on one's perception and talent. To comprehend all of them in a short 2 hours was a very severe test. Without sufficient talent, it was impossible to comprehend. Those who vomited blood were those with low talent and perception. They had participated in the test purely on luck. Of course, they were the first to be eliminated. When the various large family clans saw their disciples being eliminated so quickly, they sighed regretfully. Those who were eliminated either cried on the spot or ran down with a face full of shame. As the comprehension deepened, the number of people who remained on the high platform decreased. At the beginning, there were more than 100 people participating in the test. In a short hour, 2/3 of the people had been eliminated. And at every moment the number of people left on the high platform decreased. But at this time, those who were able to remain on the high platform were undoubtedly the geniuses of their respective family clans. Many of these people's elders had proud expressions on their faces. Very quickly, some people noticed the discordant scene on the high platform. Those who are able to remain on the high platform are undoubtedly geniuses. But who can tell me why that trash is still up there? That's right. Didn't they say that Yi Fei's dantian was destroyed and he became a cripple? Even if he had a fortuitous encounter and repaired his dantian, he would at most be a first-grade Huang rank. With such trash talent, how could he last longer than us? Could it be that we can't even compare to trash? Bullshit. I understand now. This trash must be pretending to comprehend. Actually, he did not comprehend the cultivation technique at all. He is just trying to bluff his way through. There were smart people who thought that they had seen through Yi Fei's act. Many people who heard this actually nodded their head. It was as if they also believed that this was the only reason why Yi Fei could last so long on the high platform. It was very simple. Yi Fei was clearly putting on an act on the high platform. He wanted to play a little trick. In that moment, many people looked at Yi Fei with eyes full of contempt and pity. Thinking about how the former number 1 genius of Blackrock City had been reduced to playing a little trick to bluff his way through, it was really quite pitiful. Many of the family Yi elders even had faces full of schadenfreude as they discussed in low voices. This trash must have really gone crazy. He actually dared to play a little trick in Tianyun Wufu's assessment. Later, we must open our eyes wide and watch carefully. Let's see how this trash will make a fool of himself after being exposed. 2 hours passed very quickly. At this time, there were less than 20 people who could still persevere on the high platform. As for how much they had comprehended the black rank cultivation technique, only they themselves knew. The man in black appeared again and said coldly, "The assessment time is up. Everyone, stop cultivating and then show me exactly how much you have comprehended." In his words there was a faint tremor of qi. Affected, all those who were still immersed in comprehending the cultivation technique were all subconsciously awakened and were unable to continue comprehending. Only Yi Fei did not stop. It was not that he did not want to stop, but that he simply could not. It was just a black rank cultivation technique. Relying on the mysterious energy released by the undying sword soul, he could even easily comprehend the black rank high-grade sword 13 style. Tianyun Wufu's assessment technique was only a black rank low-grade cultivation technique. Relying on the remnant energy of the undying sword soul, Yi Fei comprehended it as easily as eating and drinking. Actually, half an hour ago, he had already completely comprehended the cultivation technique on the jade tablet. Unfortunately, there was still half an hour before the assessment time. Yi Fei also did not want to appear too shocking and reveal the secret of the undying sword soul. With nothing to do for the rest of the time, Yi Fei decided to just directly try to cultivate this Xian grade cultivation technique. Unfortunately, there was still some remnant black energy from the undying sword spirit in his body, causing his cultivation speed to become shockingly fast. In just half an hour, Yi Fei realized that not only did he successfully cultivate this cultivation technique, the qi in his body was completely converted according to the attribute of this cultivation technique. Before this conversion was completed, he absolutely did not dare to casually stop cultivating. This also caused the current awkward situation. Clearly, everyone had stopped comprehending the cultivation technique. Only Yi Fei was still sitting there cross-legged, continuing to cultivate. It was incomparably eye-catching. Chapter 19. Shocking the entire audience with these words, the trembling of his true energy became even more obvious. Even the experts below the stage felt their ears ring and their faces filled with shock. The man in black was so young, yet he was already a martial master. As expected of Tianyun Wufu. Looking at Yi Fei again, he was still indifferent and continued to cultivate. He was now at the critical moment of the transformation of his true energy. It was impossible for him to stop even if he wanted to. Yi Fei could only grimace and continue to cultivate, hoping to complete the transformation quickly. He could only ignore the man in black's reminder for now. What's wrong with that trash? How long is he going to pretend? We already said that playing tricks in the assessment is useless. He must have not comprehended anything and is afraid of being discovered. That's why he wants to continue fooling around like this. Haha, what do you think this trash's next step will be? Will he spit out a mouthful of blood on the spot and pretend that he has comprehended too much, then find an excuse to continue fooling around? Seeing that Yi Fei was still pretending after being reminded twice, many of the clans below the stage began to discuss. The elders of the family Yi lowered their heads in shame and cursed. We knew that this trash would definitely lose face if we let him go up. He even caused our entire clan to lose face with him. After being ignored twice, the man in black's expression turned ugly. At the same time, he stared at Yi Fei with uncertainty. Strange, to be able to ignore my true energy transmission twice in a row. Could it be that this person has already comprehended to the extent of forgetting himself? Haha, forgetting himself? When Yi Long heard this, he almost laughed out loud. He quickly took a step forward and walked in front of the man in black. With a respectful expression, he said, "Senior brother, you may not know this, but this person was just a trash in the past. Even if he has recovered now, his Dantian is only grade 1 Huang class. With his low aptitude, it is impossible for him to comprehend a Xian class cultivation technique. He is just pretending to comprehend it." When the man in black heard this, he was in disbelief. What did you say? His Dantian is only grade 1 Huang class? Not only him, even the white-clothed woman who had been standing in the distance was shocked. How dare this person participate in the trial with such low talent? The woman in white finally glanced at Yi Fei with some curiosity. It was this glance that made her unable to move her eyes away. After the black-clothed man recovered from his shock, he became furious. Nonsense. You're only a first-grade Huang-ranked martial artist. How dare you participate in our Wu province's exam with such a trashy dantian? Do you think this is a sect that accepts all kinds of trash? I don't care if you've truly comprehended it or not, get the hell out of here. In the eyes of the man in black, a mediocre person like Yi Fei participating in the assessment was purely a waste of his time. He didn't even give Yi Fei a chance to speak. He wanted to slap Yi Fei out of the arena. Yi Fei, who was cultivating, was shocked. Now that his true qi transformation had reached the final step, if he forcefully stopped, all his previous efforts would be wasted. In the worst-case scenario, he might even suffer from qi deviation. But if he didn't stop, he would be knocked out of the arena and lose the right to participate in the assessment. Damn it, Yi Long, you're really sinister. Not only did you let people bully me, you even dared to set me up during the assessment. Yi Fei was very angry at the black-clothed man, but he was even angrier at Yi Long. He hesitated whether he should forcefully stop cultivating or not. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly spoke. Wait, let him continue cultivating. Senior sister, what are you saying? This piece of trash is purely wasting our time. A first-grade Huang-ranked piece of trash isn't even qualified to be a guard in Wu province. You still want him to continue cultivating? The black-clothed man didn't understand. I said, let him continue cultivating. No one is allowed to disturb him. Didn't you hear me? The white-clothed woman said coldly. Her status in Wu province was obviously higher than the black-clothed man's. The black-clothed man could only stand aside resentfully. Yi Fei finally let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that there were still people in Wu province who understood that he was really cultivating. Yi Fei immediately seized this rare opportunity to speed up his cultivation. At this moment, his true energy conversion had finally reached the final step. Boom! Following the sound of an explosion, the heaven and earth spirit qi in the entire martial arts practice field crazily rushed towards Yi Fei's body. It was like a huge funnel spinning like a hurricane. How is this possible? That's the desert gale technique. In just 2 hours, not only did he comprehend it, he actually succeeded in cultivating it. The black-clothed man's jaw dropped to the ground in shock. The desert gale technique was the mystic-level technique in Tianyun Wufu's assessment this time. In Wu province, even though it was only a mystic-level low-grade technique, it would still take at least 10 days to cultivate it successfully. Some of the less talented ones might even need more than a year. How much time had Yi Fei used? In just 2 hours, not only did Yi Fei comprehend it, but he also succeeded in cultivating it. How terrifying was his perception! Even in Tianyun Wufu, where geniuses gathered, it was rare to see someone with such perception. The white-clothed woman's face was also full of surprise. She pointed at Yi Fei again and said, "Look carefully again." Is it really that simple that he succeeded in cultivating it? Boom! As if to prove the white-clothed woman's words, the hurricane that had gathered above Yi Fei's head suddenly turned into the shadow of a desert flower as it slowly entered Yi Fei's body. Oh my God! He not only succeeded in cultivating the desert gale technique, but he also skipped the introductory stage and reached the initial stage. The black-clothed man was scared out of his wits. He turned his head furiously and slapped Yi Long's face. Motherf ***, is this the trash you were talking about? How dare you lie to me? Senior brother, Yi Long covered his face with an aggrieved expression. In fact, he was also a little scared out of his wit. He was the #1 genius in Blackrock City, but he could only comprehend 60% of the technique. In the end, Yi Fei, a trash, not only comprehended it, but also cultivated it to the initial stage. When the black-clothed man announced this result, Yi Long and the other geniuses on the high platform were all dumbfounded. They suspected that they were dreaming. Below the high platform, the various family heads and elders were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell to the ground. Didn't they say that Yi Fei was already trash? Who can tell me how a trash like him could comprehend a black level technique so easily and even learn it on the spot? Genius, he's definitely a genius. I've known for a long time that Yi Fei's talent is heaven-defying. He can't be suppressed just because his Dantian was destroyed. That's right. This bunch of people from the family Yi must have grown their eyes on dogs. A peerless genius is right in front of them, but they treat him like trash. They really have no taste. After witnessing Yi Fei's display of talent with their own eyes, the various families were shocked and immediately began to praise Yi Fei with all their might. They knew that the more they praised Yi Fei, the more they would slap the Yi family's face, and it would be the kind where their noses and faces would be swollen. After hearing the rumors from the other families and seeing the two examiners' shock at Yi Fei's comprehension, the family Yi members, from Yi Tianxiong to the group of elders, who had been incomparably proud a moment ago, all had ashen faces. They were so shocked that they couldn't say a word for a long time. Yi Long, who was beaten up on the high platform, held his red and swollen cheek. He was stunned for more than a minute before he reacted. His thick jealousy immediately made Yi Long lose his composure and scream. It's fake, it's fake. This can't be real. Senior brother, I swear to the heavens that Yi Fei is only a first-grade yellow-level trash. It's already difficult for trash like him to comprehend a black-level technique. How could he cultivate it to the initial stage? Chapter 20. Chapter 20. Each shit on the spot. The family Yi elders had no choice but to step forward. In the past 3 years, they had bullied Yi Fei too much. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they had pushed him to his death. If Yi Fei recovered his talent and joined Tianyun Wufu, they would all be in danger. In order to avoid this situation, the elders did not care whether Yi Fei had really recovered or not. They only had one thought in their minds, and that was to quickly crush Yi Fei under their feet. It would be best if he could never recover. Yi Fei naturally heard the elders' words. His lips curled into a mocking sneer. He didn't say anything and slowly began to withdraw his cultivation. Nonsense. What do you mean Yi Fei is a piece of trash? From what I see, you are the biggest pieces of trash. As the elders of my family Yi, you don't know how to care for your juniors. You even hit them when they are down. This old man is ashamed to be associated with all of you. This old man also believes that Yi Fei is the #1 genius in our family Yi and is also the most suitable candidate for the position of patriarch. All of a sudden, a noise interrupted the orderly voices of the family Yi elders. It was the great elder Yi Tianai, who was an astute fence-sitter. If Yi Fei only had the backing of Grand Elder Yi Chao, Yi Tianai would still be hesitant about whether he should completely side with Yi Fei. But now, after witnessing Yi Fei's talent, even Tianyun Wufu was shocked. The great elder no longer hesitated. He immediately changed his attitude and joined Yi Fei's camp. Yi Tianai, how dare you say such things in front of the patriarch? The elders of the family Yi were especially shocked. No one had expected that the great elder of the family Yi, who had great authority, would betray them at this time. Yi Tianxiong's face was so gloomy that it was almost distorted. Yi Tianai, as the great elder of the family Yi whose authority was second only to him, rebelled in front of everyone without giving them any face. This was no longer as simple as a slap in the face, it was as ugly as being kicked in the face. Yi Tianai, how dare you oppose me as the patriarch? Very good, just you wait. This patriarch will definitely make you and that trash regret it. Yi Tianxiong roared in exasperation. However, he did not go straight to the first elder. Instead, he quickly signaled his son, Yi Long, with his eyes. After all, the most important thing now was to stop Yi Fei. Otherwise, once Yi Fei joined Tianyun Wufu, the three of them would not have an easy time. Yi Long nodded knowingly. Even if Yi Tianxiong did not say it, he would not let go of the chance to kill Yi Fei out of jealousy. Only he, Yi Long, was the #1 prodigy in the family Yi. Only he, Yi Long, had the right to join Tianyan Wufu and become an elite. With the support of many elders, Yi Long, who regained his senses, ignored his swollen face and continued to speak respectfully to the black-clothed man. "Senior brother, you've seen it too. He's publicly acknowledged as trash in our clan. He must have cheated in the assessment earlier. Please be clear, senior brother. Don't be deceived by this trash's despicable method." "Don't call me that. Your talent is only average. Whether or not you can pass Wu Province's assessment is still unknown. It's still too early for you to call me senior brother." The black-clothed man was very cold. The moment he opened his mouth, he mocked Yi Long. As the #1 prodigy in Black Rock City, Yi Long had never been scolded and beaten like this. His face was burning, alternating between green and white. After a pause, the black-clothed man still asked curiously, "Is what you said true? His dantian, is it really only first-grade Huang rank?" The white-clothed woman also looked doubtfully at Yi Fei, who was slowly ending his training. It seemed too contradictory to have such amazing perception and yet such low talent. "Is what your clan members said true? Is the quality of your dantian really that low?" The white-clothed woman looked curiously at Yi Fei. "They're bullshitting. Do you think I'll tell this group of mad dog that I purposely left out a 0 at the end?" Yi Fei finished his training and said calmly. His words were enough to scare many of the people present to death. "Oh my God, he left out a 0. Could it be that Brother Fei's dantian isn't first-grade Huang rank, but 10th-grade Huang rank?" Many of the prodigies participating in the assessment were so scared that they wanted to pee. Unknowingly, they used the name Yi Fei used 3 years ago. Brother Fei. That's right. 3 years ago, when Yi Fei's talent was still there, he was the brother of all the prodigies in Black Rock City. Now, his talent had returned, and he was even stronger than before. His aura alone was enough to suppress this group of prodigies. Yi Long seemed to have heard the funniest joke. He laughed until tears came out of his eyes. "Haha, I can't take it anymore. I'm dying of laughter. Yi Fei, others may not know you, but do you think I don't know you? Even 3 years ago, when you were at your strongest, you only had a 6th-grade Huang rank dantian. Now you've been a piece of trash for 3 years, and you still have the nerve to say that your dantian is 10th-grade Huang rank. Don't be ridiculous. If a piece of trash like you can be 10th-grade Huang rank, then I, Yi Long, will eat sh*t on the spot." Yi Fei's eyes lit up. He immediately said, "Yi Long, you said it yourself. If my dantian is 10th grade, then you'll eat sh*t in front of everyone." Yi Long had bullied him and his sister for 3 years. He could use this opportunity to return the favor with interest. "That's right, I said it. If you really have a 10th-grade Huang rank dantian, I, Yi Long, will eat sh*t immediately. If you don't, then you must kneel in front of me, bark like a dog 3 times, and crawl out of the martial arts practice field like a dog. Do you dare?" Yi Long's tone was vicious. Not only did he want to humiliate Yi Fei, but he also wanted to destroy Yi Fei's future. When the time came, the high and mighty Tianyan Wufu would definitely not accept a student with such a tainted reputation. Yi Fei clearly saw how sinister and vicious Yi Long was. He smiled coldly and nodded without hesitation. "Why wouldn't I dare? However, such a situation will never happen. Yi Long, on the other hand, you're a genius. Please be prepared to eat sh*t. Dantian, open up!" Yi Fei coldly snorted and instantly released the quality of his dantian. Dealing with Yi Long was only secondary. His true goal was to attract the attention of the Sky Fortune Martial House. As long as he displayed his talent, Yi Shanshan would have a higher chance of receiving help from Tianyan Wufu. Therefore, Yi Fei did not mind revealing the quality of his dantian. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Layers of yellow halos appeared continuously from Yi Fei's body. 1, 2, 3, 6. In the blink of an eye, there were already 10 such halos. The yellow light pierced the eyes of everyone present. 10th grade Huang rank. Oh my god, this trash's Dantian is actually 10th grade Huang rank. Bastard, what are you talking about? Have you ever seen a 10th grade Huang rank trash? Brother Fei is clearly the strongest genius in our Blackrock City. This kind of genius, our Blackrock City, only has 1,000 years. There will only be one such genius in Blackrock City. Brother Fei genius, we love you. Witnessing Yi Fei's unprecedented talent in Blackrock City with their own eyes, everyone present was shocked, dumbfounded, and the number of people who were dumbfounded was simply too many to count. Of course, there were also countless young girls who looked at Yi Fei with infatuation and adoration. The white-clothed lady's eyes lit up. She looked at Yi Fei in surprise and said, "You're actually 10th grade Huang rank. No wonder you could comprehend a black rank cultivation technique so easily. Very good, I didn't expect Blackrock City to have a genius like you." Her tone was no longer cold as before. Instead, it was filled with a sense of intimacy. The black-clothed man next to him was even more unbearable. With a fawning expression, he walked to Yi Fei's side and congratulated him. "Junior brother Yi, I didn't think that not only is your perception heaven-shocking, but your talent is also so shocking. Regardless of which of these two, it is enough to pass the assessment. Congratulations on joining our Sky Fortune Marshall House." Hua. Although they had vaguely guessed it, Yi Fei didn't even need to go through the third round. Instead, he directly joined Tianyun Wufu. All the big families were shocked beyond words. The elders of the family Yi were even more regretful. If they had known that Yi Fei would turn into a dragon one day, they wouldn't have bullied this pair of siblings. At this moment, Yi Long stood rooted to the ground with a dumbfounded expression. He couldn't regain his senses for a long time. Just now, he had tried to curry favor with the black-clothed man by calling him senior brother. In the end, the black-clothed man had coldly rejected him on the spot. However, at this moment, the black-clothed man had actually lowered his status and tried to curry favor with Yi Fei. The contrast was too strong. Yi Long, who was burning with jealousy, was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood on the high platform. How could he continue to stay here and be humiliated? Yi Long didn't say another word. He turned around and was about to leave dejectedly. "Stop right there. Did I say you could leave? Genius, have you forgotten something?" Yi Fei said coldly. This sentence was like a loud slap to Yi Long's face. It almost made him stop breathing. Chapter 21. Battle of the Geniuses. Yi Fei, don't go overboard. Don't think that I, Yi Long, will be afraid of you just because you're talented. This is not 3 years ago. Yi Long was furious. As the #1 genius of Blackrock City, Yi Long thought of himself as high and mighty. How could he tolerate eating **tea in public? His words completely enraged Yi Fei. "I went overboard?" Yi Fei's face was full of disbelief. "Yi Long, you can't be as shameless as you and your father. How have I treated you all these years? I treated you as my best brother. Whenever I had something good, I would share it with you. I even gave you the elixirs that could improve the quality of your energy center without hesitation. But how did you treat me?" Yi Fei's face was full of anger as he spat at Yi Long. "You treacherous villain. During the 3 years when my energy center was destroyed, you secretly ordered the family Ye's disciples to bully and humiliate me. You even tried to force my sister and me into a corner. What I can't tolerate the most is that you even dared to lay your hands on my sister. You got your lackeys to torture and interrogate her. Isn't that going overboard? And now I'm just telling you to eat **tea. Isn't that going overboard?" These words had been bottled up in Yi Fei's heart for a long time. Now that he said them all in one breath, Yi Fei suddenly felt proud and elated. When Yi Long heard it, it was ear-piercing. It was even more impossible for him to admit to his crimes. Yi Long's face darkened as he retorted, "That's slander. Don't spout nonsense without evidence. As for your useless sister who can't cultivate, she's not even a part of my family Ye's bloodline. I got someone to interrogate her, that's not wrong at all. Yi Fei, if you have the guts, fight me." "You want to challenge me?" Yi Fei asked in a low voice. "That's right. I want to challenge you. If I lose this time, not only will I eat sh*t, you can even take my life. But if you lose, you'll have to destroy your own dantian and scram back home, continuing to be a piece of trash. Do you dare to accept this challenge?" Yi Long's face was filled with jealousy. As the number one genius of the family Yi, he absolutely could not accept eating sh*t in public. Yi Long simply threw caution to the wind and directly challenged Yi Fei. After all, although Yi Fei was very talented, he was only in the 5th stage of the martial path. As the number one genius in the family Yi Long was in the 9th stage of the martial path. Therefore, Yi Long wasn't afraid of Yi Fei. On the contrary, Yi Long had a huge advantage over a 5th stage of the martial path. Those who remained on the high platform were all geniuses from various families. Of course, they understood Yi Long's plan. It was also because of this that they realized how treacherous Yi Long was. A 9th stage martial path cultivator challenging a 5th stage martial path cultivator. Yi Long, can you be any more shameless? Such a treacherous person actually wants to be the number one genius of Blackstone City? Bah! The geniuses from various families all looked at Yi Long with disdain. Yi Long automatically ignored these looks of disdain. His eyes were red with jealousy as he roared, "Yi Fei, do you dare to accept this challenge?" "Why wouldn't I dare?" Yi Fei coldly replied, "Yi Long, I can tolerate whatever you do to me, but you shouldn't have bullied my sister. Today, I'll use your blood to return justice to my sister and me." Seeing that Yi Fei wanted to accept the challenge with such a low cultivation, the white-clothed woman frowned and kindly reminded him, "Junior brother Yi, why are you in such a hurry? With your talent, you'll soon surpass everyone here. The current Yu doesn't have to care about this at all." "Senior sister, thank you for your concern. However, I still have to accept this challenge. No one can hurt my sister and still come out unscathed. Genius, make your move. Let me see how much progress you've made in the past 3 years." Yi Fei strode to the center of the stage and faced Yi Long with his hands behind his back. He had no intention of making the first move. Yi Long's face turned ugly when he heard Yi Fei calling him a genius. In front of Yi Fei's 10th grade Huang-ranked dantian, no one in Blackstone City would dare to call themselves a genius. Yi Fei was clearly mocking him. This was what Yi Long couldn't tolerate the most. Therefore, he shamelessly took the initiative to attack first. Wild Wind Slash. "Yi Fei, go to hell. I'm the strongest genius in Blackstone City. You're just a piece of trash." Yi Long released a strong murderous intent. From the beginning, Yi Long had no intention of fighting Yi Fei. He only wanted to use the challenge as an excuse to kill Yi Fei. Yi Tianxiong also saw through his son's plan. He was very excited and immediately cheered Yi Long on. "Long, don't hold back. Kill this little bastard for your father." Yi Tianxiong couldn't care less anymore. Yi Fei's talent had reached a level that terrified him. Yi Tianxiong would never allow Yi Fei to grow again. Danger must be killed in the cradle. Kill. The sky was filled with wild winds that were sharp enough to cut a person's body. Yi Long's wild wind slash was clearly faster and stronger than Yi Lang's. Facing such a powerful move, Yi Fei didn't say anything. He just kept a cold face and repeated the most basic and simple movement. Draw the sword, draw the sword, draw the sword again, draw the sword again, draw the sword again. 13th sword style. 13 times critical hit. Boom. The two swords collided in an instant. However, What made Yi Fei feel strange was that this time, he wasn't able to push Yi Long back. On the contrary, a strong repulsive force forced Yi Fei to continuously retreat. Yi Fei's brows immediately furrowed. What was going on? Suddenly, he noticed that the sword in Yi Long's hand seemed a little unusual. After pushing Yi Fei back with one sword, Yi Long's face flashed with a sinister look. He waved the sword in his hand and laughed sinisterly. Ha ha ha, trash. Do you think that I, Yi Long, wouldn't be prepared just because you learned a profound tier sword technique? This sword is a low-grade profound tier weapon that my big brother sent to me from the Tianxian sect. You trash, to be able to die under this Xian sword, you can rest in peace. Die, wild wind slash. Yi Long finally revealed his trump card. He actually had a low-grade profound tier sword in his hand. In addition to his strength of the 9th stage of the martial path, even if Yi Fei could rely on the 13th sword style to challenge someone of a higher level, he still wouldn't be a match for Yi Long, so that's how it is. Yi Long actually hid a profound tier sword in his hand. No wonder he dared to ignore Tianyun Wufu and took the initiative to challenge Yi Fei. Not good. Yi Long is already in the 9th stage of the martial path. With a profound tier sword, his combat strength isn't inferior to an expert of the 10th stage of the martial path. Yi Fei is likely to be defeated. Now, let's see when Tianyun Wufu will intervene. The various family heads were shocked when they saw the two young people fighting. Many people knew that the 13th sword style was a profound tier martial art in the family Yi. However, in the past 100 years, no one in the family Yi had been able to master it. As time passed, no one took it seriously. Now that Yi Fei had actually mastered it, it was already very shocking. What was even more shocking was that Yi Long had secretly obtained a low-grade profound tier sword from the Heavenly Xian sect. His strength had increased tremendously. Many family heads couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. If it wasn't for Yi Fei's sudden appearance and rise in the Wu province's assessment, no one would be a match for Yi Long. Yi Long would also have a high chance of joining Tianyun Wufu. He actually has a profound tier sword. It seems that junior brother Yi won't be able to win. Senior sister, let me intervene. The black-clothed man frowned. Yi Fei's Dantian was of the 10th stage Huang rank. In Tianyun Wufu, he could be considered a rare genius. Tianyun Wufu couldn't watch such a genius be destroyed. The black-clothed man said, and was about to step forward to stop the battle. Don't come over. No one is allowed to interfere in my battle. So what if you're in the 9th stage of the martial path? So what if you have a profound tier sword? How dare you hurt my most important sister? Yi Long, I'll take your life now. Great Desert Storm. After exchanging more than 10 moves, Yi Fei discovered that just relying on the 13 sword styles was indeed unable to block this profound sword. Yi Fei's expression turned cold, and he simply activated the profound rank low-grade cultivation technique that he had just learned, the Grand Desert Gale technique. Chapter 22. Killing Yi Long. Yi Fei dared to accept Yi Long's challenge despite knowing that he was in the 9th level of the martial path. This wasn't because he was overconfident but because he had the confidence to fight Yi Long. The Desert Gale technique was the source of Yi Fei's confidence. The power of this technique was dozens of times stronger than the Qi drawing technique that Yi Fei had cultivated in the past. In the end, the Yi family's Qi drawing technique was only a mid-grade yellow-level cultivation technique, while the Desert Gale technique was a low-grade black-level cultivation technique. There was a difference of several grades between the two, and the power they produced was as different as heaven and earth. For example, if a yellow rank technique was a piece of wood, then a black rank technique would be a rock. No matter how hard a piece of wood was, could it be harder than a rock? At this moment, Yi Fei activated both the Desert Gale technique and the 13th sword style at the same time. His sword was unprecedentedly bright. Clang! Accompanied by the sound of metal and the enormous increase in the might of the 13 sword styles caused by the profound rank cultivation technique, Yi Fei's strike directly sent the profound sword in Yi Long's hand flying. If Yi Long wasn't holding a profound sword at this moment but an ordinary longsword, then this strike would be sufficient to split Yi Long into two. Yi Long stared blankly at the black rank sword that was stabbed into the ground. He couldn't believe that even with the black rank sword, he wasn't Yi Fei's opponent. Fear and regret filled his heart. Then, they turned into burning jealousy. Yi Long, you've lost. From now on, your life belongs to me. Yi Fei said coldly. No, I haven't lost. I'm the #1 genius of Blackrock City. How could I lose to a cripple like you? I know, you must have cultivated an evil technique. The battle just now doesn't count. I, Yi Long, haven't lost. How could Yi Long admit defeat? Once he lost, he would lose his life. In order to survive, Yi Long ignored the looks of disdain from the people around him, and started to deny it in an attempt to deceive them. Yi Long, that's enough. Do you think I'll let you go if you deny it? I once told Yi Lang that he would return everything that my father and I gave him. Let me tell you the same thing. Whatever belongs to me and my father, I will definitely take it back. Yi Fei approached Yi Long with a murderous aura. 3 years of humiliation and the suffering my sister suffered. Now, I will use your blood to seek justice for my sister and me. Yi Fei, how dare you hurt my son? Suddenly, a vigorous figure rushed up from below the high platform. The one who attacked was Yi Tianxiong. He had seen with his own eyes that Yi Long was no match for Yi Fei even with a profound sword. After Yi Tianxiong recovered from his shock, he was immediately filled with fear. Yi Long was the strongest prodigy in the family Yi. He was also the son that Yi Tianxiong favored the most. Of course, Yi Tianxiong would not just watch as Yi Long was killed. Therefore, while everyone's attention was on Yi Fei, Yi Tianxiong's face flashed with a hint of viciousness. He was willing to risk offending Tianyun Wufu and personally kill Yi Fei. Yi Tianxiong was completely terrified. He did not dare to give Yi Fei any chance to grow. On the high platform, Yi Long, who was scared out of his wits, had a glimmer of hope on his face. He jumped up from the ground, turned around, and tried to escape. Father, save me! Yi Fei smiled coldly. He did not even bother to look at Yi Tianxiong, who was rushing up. He directly swung his sword at Yi Long, who was trying to escape. It's no use even if you call me grandfather. Yi Long, how dare you bully my sister? You deserve to die. Poof! Yi Long could not block this attack even with the profound sword. Without the profound sword, it was even more impossible for him to block it. Before he could run 10 meters, one of Yi Long's legs was chopped off by the sword. The excruciating pain made Yi Long scream. His body uncontrollably fell to his knees at Yi Fei's feet. Only his eyes were left. When he looked at Yi Fei, they were filled with pain and hatred. Then, they turned into deep fear. Yi Tianxiong's attack had finally angered the woman in white. She did not seem to move. She just stood there and threw out a punch. Yi Tianxiong's body flew into the crowd like a kite with a broken string. He crashed into a few family Yi elders who were trying to help. They all spat out blood at the same time. This was the terror of a martial master. A casual punch was enough to seriously injure a 10th stage martial path expert. Whoever dares to move again will die. Those who challenge the dignity of Wu Province will be exterminated. The man in black's eyes were already flashing with murderous intent. Tianyun Wufu usually did not interfere with his disciples' family affairs. However, if anyone dared to attack a disciple of Wu Province for no reason, they would receive the harshest punishment in Wu Province. Because he knew this, Yi Fei did not care about Yi Tianxiong's sneak attack. After witnessing the terror of a martial master, all the family heads present were terrified. At this moment, Yi Fei's sword was already pressed against Yi Long's throat. If he wanted to, he could kill Yi Long at any time. However, Yi Fei did not do so. He only looked down at Yi Long coldly and said, "Now, what do you have to say?" Yi Fei, "No, Brother Fei, I finally know that I was wrong. I beg you, since we are brothers, please let me go. I have a yellow grade 5th stage dantian. I am the #1 genius of the family Yi. Brother Fei, as long as you are willing to let me go, I will do anything. That's right, I can be your follower again. If not, I can be your dog." Yi Long begged bitterly. He was a genius. His future was bright. He really did not want to die now. Although Yi Fei already knew that Yi Long was sinister and shameless, and that his previous loyalty was all a pretense, when he heard it with his own ears that Yi Long was willing to be a dog in order to survive, Yi Fei could not help but gasp. This person was even scarier than a demonic beast. All the disciples present looked at Yi Long with incomparable shock. This was the #1 genius of the Black Rock City. Yi Long's current behavior was simply ruining their childhood. Yi Fei seemed to be persuaded by Yi Long's suggestion. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "If you want to live, then it depends on whether you are willing to cooperate." "I will cooperate, Brother Fei. If you need anything, just tell me. I, Yi Long, will do my best to cooperate. From now on, I will be your most loyal dog." Yi Long pretended to be loyal and devoted. In order to survive, he was ready to risk everything and throw away all his dignity. Yi Fei suddenly felt a wave of sadness. This was the #1 genius of the family Yi? If his father was still alive, he would definitely be very disappointed to see the family Yi in such a state. "Yi Long, let me ask you. 3 years ago, when my father and I were attacked by demonic beasts, were you and your father the ones who arranged it? If you tell me honestly, you can live." Yi Fei said. The appearance of that demonic beast 3 years ago was too strange. He had to get to the bottom of it. Hearing Yi Fei's words, a flash of panic quickly flashed across Yi Long's eyes. The heavily injured Yi Tianxiong also desperately shouted, "Long don't tell me." Yi Long suddenly screamed. Seeing the panicked expressions of the father and son, Yi Fei knew that the incident 3 years ago was definitely not an accident. The sword in his hand instantly pierced Yi Long's dantian. Yi Fei roared with red eyes, "Are you going to tell me or not? If you don't, I will destroy your dantian and let you have a taste of being a cripple." "Brother Fei, don't. I'll tell you everything. That demonic beast 3 years ago was deliberately provoked by my elder brother and father. Your dantian was also destroyed by my elder brother, Yi Wei. It had nothing to do with me." Yi Long cried and begged for mercy. Hearing that Yi Fei wanted to destroy his dantian, Yi Long was scared out of his wits. He told him everything he knew on the spot. Even though he had already guessed it, hearing the truth from Yi Long's mouth still made Yi Fei feel a surge of anger. His face also flashed with a thick sense of hostility. He would never forget the scene 3 years ago when his father sacrificed himself to save him from the demonic beast. At that time, Yi Tianxiong and Yi Wei must have been secretly laughing when they saw this scene. In the end, Yi Wei even destroyed his dantian. If it weren't for the undying sword soul in his body that healed his injuries, he might have been reduced to a cripple for the rest of his life. Yi Tianxiong, Yi Wei, you father and son are ruthless and vicious. Since you killed my father, I will kill your son with my own hands. Blood for blood. Kill. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.